Solutions from Van Products.
In World War I, American fighter pilots covering a plane's rear position coined the phrase, "I've got your six," to mean I've got your back. Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org using the number 6.
Want consistent color for every job? Milo's Pro Rewards members get a 20% paint discount on future purchases after paint annual qualifying spend reaches $3,000. Plus, order eligible in-stock paint and paint supplies by 2 p.m. for free same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Improving is easy at Lowe's. Excludes spray paint and mist tints. More exclusions, terms, and conditions apply. Subject to change. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Same-day delivery valid in select zip codes. Subject to driver availability. Details at Lowe's.com/same-day delivery.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Southerly wind warming us up nicely this afternoon. We do climb back to 61 degrees after a cold morning. Overnight tonight, not as cold, mid-40s. And tomorrow looks absolutely beautiful, 70 degrees under mostly sunny skies. Increasing clouds on Sunday. It'll be nice and mild, but we'll have a chance of showers and storms late in the day into Monday.
3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 1 point to 46,678. Market update is brought to you by UNC Chapel Hill University Development Office. Give UNC is back Tuesday, March 24th. Get ready to make your mark at giveunc.unc.edu.
Copeland fighting through a couple of defenders, meets the resistance of Onyensu, and Williams is there for a three. Trimble will kick it out for Bessar. Three-pointer on the money. With 12 seconds to play, 5 seconds to go. Florida State trying to win it right here. And it's over. Duke survives it. 80-79.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan on a Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy ACC Tournament Friday, everybody. I'm Tim Donnelly. Dennis Cox here with me in Charlotte, inside the Spectrum Center, where, let's see here, do some on-air math. 4 hours from now, the semifinals of the ACC Men's Basketball Tournament will be taking place not 10 steps from where we sit courtside for today's show. Max Gorin back at the studio, keeping us up and running. It's been a good week. It's been a really exciting ACC tournament. Mm-hmm. I understand maybe the Canes didn't take care of business back home.
That's fine.
We'll address that.
That's fine.
It's because we weren't there. We'll address that. But there's more to get to even prior to. And that's something we call the Big Three at 3.
Number 1.
So 3 Triangle ACC teams came into yesterday, into the quarterfinals, still alive for an ACC tournament. For an ACC tournament championship. There is just one remaining, and that would be Duke. And at times, it looked like there may be none remaining. Really, for the first time in quite some time, Duke was on their heels. Duke was on the ropes. But they battled back, came back from down 9 in the second half, and withstood a couple of runs from Florida State, who is really turned things around in the second half of their season, although that's over now. Duke beat Florida State 80-79, and that gives them a date with Clemson tonight at 9:30 p.m. They have the late night game here at in Charlotte in the Spectrum Center at the ACC tournament. There's a real glass half full, glass half empty thing happening with Duke. I think it's very easily, you could look at them struggling against Florida State and go, Florida State is 67th in the net. They're 8th in the ACC. Duke should have rolled. Oh, no. that must mean Caleb Foster and Patrick Gumba being out is such a big deal that it's leveled them down. That's glass half empty if you're a Duke fan. Glass half full if you're a fan of a different team in the Triangle. The reverse of that would be you're going to have to win close games. You're going to have to, as you'll hear from Cam Boozer here in a second, win ugly. And as maybe sideways as things got at times for Duke, they were still able to come away with the win. So let's hear from Cam Boozer on their ability to win ugly. This was in the post-game presser.
I think it just says that we can win ugly. Obviously we don't want to win ugly, but we can if we have to. We pushed the adversity. I think we were down 8 at one point. We went on a big-time run. I started on the defensive end, and moving forward, it's got to be better. So,
and it did start with the defensive energy, and we'll talk about it as the show goes along. When they found themselves down 8 in the second half, John Shire pointed out multiple times in the postgame, this team isn't used to that, right? It's not
they're not.
It's not that they haven't played close games or tough games. They played Michigan. They've played in their non-conference schedule, Texas Tech, and you can go on and on. Florida, absolutely. But down 8, even in those games that were kind of back and forth, down 8 in the second half hasn't happened to this team too many times. And how they reacted was a positive.
I think that's the one thing about John Shire and his team that we have found. When he challenges them, they respond in a positive manner.
And I talked to John after the game and I asked a question in the post game. And I did say, there was a timeout. So they were down 8. He calls timeout, right? A typical, you got to stop the bleeding, get the momentum down a little bit.
59-51.
And they came out, and from that point forward, I think there was a 19-2 run over the next 5 minutes. And I was like, what was the message? And you could tell that he understood we all wanted, I took Hemania and I started having him guard McCray, and that was the whole difference. He went, listen, there was no schematics. There was nothing different. It simply was a toughness issue. And I told them we didn't have the toughness that we've had just about this whole year. And then they went out and, made a couple plays, and it was different. So, that they're learning maybe what their DNA, what the pH balance is in their locker room without Foster and Gungba. And it took them a little bit longer to maybe light the fire, but once it did, they won by 1, and they're still playing tonight against Clemson. That's number 1. Let's get to number 2.
Number 2.
UNC will not continue playing. Matter of fact, if you look at the ACC bracket, there are the top 3 seeds still playing. The only kind of non-chalk is that UNC was the 4 seed and they lost to 5th-seeded Clemson yesterday. Ironically, the exact same score as the Duke game, just inverse. UNC lost 79-80. And there's going to be a huge discussion, we'll be a part of it, of how much they missed Caleb Wilson and in what ways they missed Caleb Wilson and what would Caleb Wilson have done. I don't know if you looking at what your lead dog did. I don't know if you can ask for anything more. Was Caleb Wilson going to put up 35 and 20? Because that's essentially what it would have done for him to outplay Henry Vasar in that lead dog role.
Yeah.
He had 28 and 17, both career highs. And after the game, he was asked about if he changed his mindset, knowing he was the number 1 option. And this is what he said. I think we have that audio from Henry Vasar. Max, back at the studio. If we have it, go ahead and hit play. If not, I can describe it.
I don't really think that has changed much. I think there's just more opportunity because obviously Caleb is an amazing player and we miss him, but I'll say that I just have gotten more opportunity. Obviously, he was an aggressive player. He got a lot of the shots. He got a lot of possession because he deserves it by any chance. And I think now just coming my way, so I'm going to try to make the best I can from every opportunity to give us a chance to win.
And as we're about the halfway point here in the Big 3 at 3, I want to remind everybody that it's brought to you by Maynard Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical. It is service you can trust. Check them out online, maynardservices.com. Now back to what you just heard from Henry Vasar. I kind of agree with him that I think I don't know if he had average 28 and 17 in him, but I do think there was a
career highs in both, by the way.
I do think there was a level above what we've seen from him statistically that is just not going to happen when you're sharing the usage with another high usage player like Caleb Wilson. The frustrating part might be Vasar recognized the challenge and the opportunity, and said, we're in a big game against a good team, and it's win or go home in the ACC tournament, I will step up and play that number one role and do so valiantly. And the rest of the team wasn't there to support him in a way that would take advantage of what obviously was him sensing a moment and taking advantage of it.
I know we're going to talk Carolina and that loss here in just a few minutes, but
Correct.
You can't get down 18 and expect just to win again.
They
Like
almost did.
that's the thing. Like they almost did, but this isn't the first time we said that about Carolina basketball under Hubert Davis. It's not.
There's and to Hubert's credit, we'll talk about it. There were some toughness and some physicality differences and some depth differences in that game that really dug a big hole for Carolina. That's number 2. Let's get to number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah, back at home in the Lenovo Center, in the Triangle, in Raleigh, the Carolina Hurricanes lost to the St. Louis Blues. It was not exactly what we were hoping for, and it's added to this stretch of post-Olympic break hockey for the Canes that feels a little, I would say, like off kilter still, just a little, chaotic. You never know what you're going to get on a game-to-game basis, which is so unusual for Canes fans because, the Canes system, the Canes effort, the way they play is usually, there's going to be games where you outshoot the opponent by a ton and lose. There's going to be, I'm not saying they're going to win every game, but usually stylistically or in vibe what you're going to get. And it's been a little all over the place since that Olympic break. They're going to need to hone it in prior to postseason play. After the game, Rod Brindamore, head coach, was asked what tipped that particular game in the Blues' favor.
Well, we didn't score. Probably our best period of the year, maybe in the first period, and we were up by 1. Then you're just letting the team hang around. They're going to come back a little bit, and then, and it wasn't much after that. We didn't generate a ton. We had a couple. He made a couple of really big saves, and that's the difference.
Sometimes it is that simple. And by the way, the goal that they did score in the first was a beauty from Mark Jankowski, who perhaps could be hitting his post-trade deadline hot streak.
Right.
Right about this time last year, he was maybe wrapping up a 7 to 10 game streak where he had like a goal per game, which is not what you expect from Mark Jankowski. And again, the last 2 games, he's had a goal in each, including a beauty to start the scoring for the Canes yesterday. Nobody, by the way, first goal score prediction to pick Jankowski. But Rod is right. And we're actually, this is a sports-wide thing, although I do think it happens more in hockey. Because we saw it a few times here at the ACC tournament. If you are dominating a game, controlling the tempo, imparting your styles and having your way, and you don't see it on the scoreboard, in a weird way, that's actually a massive kind of like confidence booster for the other team, right? Where it's like, oh no, we're taking their best shot and we're down 1-0 after the first period. Or in the basketball world, when a team's shooting like 64% from 3 and they're up 1 at half, the other team's going, well, they're not going to shoot 64% all game, right? Like we just took the best that their shooters have to offer, and we're right neck and neck. The Canes, and this is a Canes problem, talk about what you can always expect from the Canes. They will have to continue to work on, when you dominate a period, making sure it shows up on the scoreboard just a little bit more, right? And that's where those quote unquote, assassin scorers are so important, where it's like, if you get a ton of good looks versus their very few good looks, and you need to walk out of that period with a 2 or 3 goal lead, and 1-0, it's not enough. It can be erased too quickly, as they saw last night. That is the Big 3 at 3 here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Again, thank you to Maynard for presenting the Big 3 at 3 and the 3 hottest sports stories of the day. It's actually pretty cool here. They keep it nice and cozy, nice and cool for the athletes inside the Spectrum Center.
They do.
For the ACC tournament.
It's quite comfortable.
Yeah, it's the opposite of like the old Red Auerbach stories of 104 degrees when you played the Celtics because he thought his team was better conditioned. The athletes today, they're babied. They have like 72.5 degrees exactly. All the balls perfectly inflated. They're out there just playing in the best conditions, which they should be. They've earned it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Even with all of those perfect conditions, Carolina still couldn't pull off the win against Clemson, although they did cover. They were 1.5-point dogs, lost by 1.
They did.
So, expectations. But expectations, covering doesn't get you playing today in the semifinals. What happened to UNC yesterday? We'll tell you next.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or price stopped. Opt out.
Hey man, how did the date go?
I had to cancel. I don't get paid until Friday.
You didn't know that you can get up to a $750 paycheck advance with the current app?
Where was that information yesterday?
Just text them, see if you qualify. $750? Boom! And right now, they're offering a $75 bonus when you set up an eligible direct deposit.
Think I should call her back?
Yeah.
Need money before payday? Current has you covered. Set up an eligible direct deposit to see if you qualify for a paycheck advance of up to $750. Hurry and receive an extra $75 sign-up bonus right now. Text BETTER to 323232. That's BETTER to 323232. BETTER to 323232.
Paycheck advance is offered by FindCo Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com/radio or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
This is The Drive. Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan, and we are on location, courtside, where at 7 o'clock, the semifinals of the ACC men's basketball tournament will tip off. It will be, Miami and Virginia to start things off, and then Duke and Clemson in the 9:30 game to follow.
We got the court warmed up earlier, by the way. Taking shots and everything. It was good.
It is. It turns you into a little kid when you have access to an NBA arena, ACC tournament, hardwood basketball event, and nobody's around and there's a rack of basketballs. It's like, well, I'm not going to not take a couple hundred shots.
Yeah.
So we had some fun out there. Got it loose, knocked down some free throws. I tried to recreate the Jaron Stevenson UNC buzzer beating opportunity. So UNC lost yesterday by 1. They did have a ball in the air at the buzzer. Obviously, if it would have gone in, they would have won the game. It would have been one of the craziest shots in ACC history. So we went back and watched the tape. We saw exactly where Jaron Stevenson got the rebound off the missed free throw, the 2 dribbles he took, and it was basically from the opposing free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
And he left it way, way, way short.
Yeah.
So we did a scientific experiment where I recreated it as best as I could. And
one shot.
Let's just say it came up short as well.
Yes.
But I will, I didn't have the adrenaline of an ACC basketball game riding on that particular shot. I wasn't warmed up like he was. I
didn't have the pressure, you know?
Nobody in the stands helps.
Not on television. Yeah.
I think I could have done better in the game.
Okay.
But
You
no,
still
I did not make it. But it was fun, and it was a good science experiment to see how tough it was. Turns out, as every basketball player knows, long way from the opposite free throw line.
But leading up to that, us recreating that shot is the fact that Carolina was in that position that they had to. Their only way to win it at the end was an 80-foot heave down the court.
And to me, there's kind of 2 conversations on how they got there. And by the way, the Caleb Wilson conversation is part of the conversation. He was not out there, but Clemson was also missing one of their best bigs in Carter Welling, who tore his ACL the day prior. So they didn't even have an on-ramp to get used to not having Welling out there. And he likely would have drawn at least part of the defensive assignment of Henry Vasar, who did go bonkers and had a really good game. So there's a little bit of coming and going. Who knows what the injuries would have done if both teams could, turn off injuries like it's a video game. But the two stories I have are first, UNC's depth versus Clemson's depth. It was stark, okay? And that's even with the injuries that both teams kind of took one guy out of their rotation. Clemson's bench outscored UNC's bench 29-5. But it goes deeper than that. Every starter for UNC was positive in the plus minus. Every player that came off the bench for UNC was minus in the plus minus. That is like 100% across the board true, and UNC lost by 1. So you look at it and go, all right, if Caleb Wilson is there, you would have had one more player probably in the positive, right? I don't know if that gives you the depth when Clemson is throwing 9 guys deep and all of them are doing something positive, right? I brought it up yesterday. If you look at their game totals at the end of a game, I know Nick Davidson had 17 and that was a little bit of a outlier, but it's like 11, 8, 8, 6, 6, 4, 5. Like that's how they score all the way down the lineup. And UNC, when their guys needed a breather, they did not have somebody that could go in there and match the depth of Clemson. So that's like the basketball stuff there. The second story is more, I would say, between the years. It's goes back to the cliche of whoever wants to be in the fight the most usually wins the fight. I like somebody who's grinning when they're in a fight because like they're into it, right? They're engaged. It felt like until Carolina got down 18 in the second half, they were reluctantly in a battle, right? The physicality of Clemson wasn't being matched. The energy of Clemson wasn't being matched until they were down 18. And Hubert Davis talked about the physicality from Clemson that made a difference, particularly early on as they were digging that hole.
Yeah, just the inability to respond to physicality. I felt like it was the same thing Saturday of last week and for most of the game tonight. Clemson's always been physical defensively, and one of the things I always say is you never let a defense dictate and decide how efficient you are on the offensive end, and I felt like their physicality took us out of our offense, took us off of our cuts, our screens, our moves, and didn't really respond to that until the latter part of the second half. And then also just, I've been straightforward about, for us to be a good team, we just got to be good defensively. I've said defense and rebounding and taking care of the basketball. And so, when you allow a team to shoot 50% from the field, especially this time of the year against good teams, that's just not a recipe for success.
Now, maybe the most frustrating part, if I were a UNC fan and I were just watching the game, listening to the pressers, trying to take in all of the information, I think the most frustrating part would be you proved in the second half that it's almost a choice, right? When they flipped the switch and became the more aggressive team and started, kind of throwing caution to the wind, and Henry Vasar, if the ball was kicked out to him, was catch and shoot rather than catch and should I shoot? And like once everything kind of settled down, they were the better team, right? So if you had that in you in the second half, why didn't you choose to do it in the first half?
Yeah.
Is kind of the way I look at it. It's one thing, and this happens in sports, where you play a team, it could be just a bad matchup, or it could be they are more talented than you, or it could be, an injury really did make it so you didn't have enough talent. And then if you lose the game, right, but you went, full throttle the entire game and everything, at the end of the day, you sit back and you go, you tip your cap, they got us. The games that Carolina has lost, and especially the most heartbreaking games that they have lost, I didn't leave going like, well, the better team won today. Because there would be stretches within those games where Carolina would make it pretty obvious that they're the more talented and the more gifted team when they are as aggressive as they possibly can be, when they are as tough as they possibly can be. to use a basketball term or a basketball analogy, when Carolina starts driving to the bucket to make the field goal rather than driving to the bucket hoping the ref bails them out, is when they suddenly play a million times better and actually draw more fouls. Like when they're just anticipating kind of like let's see what the basketball game is rather than let's go impart our will. It's different. And Henry Vasar said it actually pretty well in the post-game presser. They talked about the kind of flipping of the switch once they were down at 18. And he said, well, we started playing desperate. And then his follow-up immediately after that, not a follow-up question, just his next sentence was, and we play pretty good desperate. And it's like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I hear you.
I respect the self-awareness.
Can you get desperate earlier?
Yeah.
Or do you actually can you figure out what about being desperate makes you play well and simulate that? Because it's important, right? And he wasn't the only one that noticed it. Seth Trimble, Dennis, I believe you were speaking with him in the locker room when the pressers were going on. Here's Seth Trimble on them maybe lacking some toughness.
We went the tougher team tonight, and that was, kind of the same thing for the second game in a row. We had some good streaks throughout the game of good basketball, but when you're gonna have the tougher team consistently throughout the game, it's gonna be hard to win.
You weren't the tougher team consistently throughout the game.
For the second game in a row. That's what he said, like for the second game in a row, because we saw in the second half against Duke, when they started to pull away, they started to get their little bit of a run and started bullying them around physically. They had no answer in that game.
Tough. I mean, it is like there is something DNA wise, right? Because I know some people that are tough and they don't have to choose to be. But it's not like, height or shooting ability. Like you can will it into existence a little bit. And the fact that Carolina couldn't yesterday against Clemson, who credit to Brad Brownell, he hasn't playing well. If you just go talent for talent back and forth, that Clemson roster should not have beaten a team like Carolina.
It's got to be concerning, especially if you're a Carolina fan. If you're a UNC fan, it has to be concerning when you hear your seniors say that for the second straight game we weren't tough. And then also you hear Basar say, yeah, when we flipped the switch and we were desperate, like you said, then, we're probably pretty good when you're desperate. Okay, then why does it take so long? And this is where I turn it back to the head coach. Why does it take so long for your team to finally lock in? Why do you have to be down 18 points to finally go, hey, you know what? Let's play with some desperation. You're in the ACC tournament and you're about to be in the NCAA tournament. Desperation is mandatory from the jump. And you're the Carolina Tar Heels. Yeah.
Like you haven't won an ACC tournament title in quite some time. You
have 3 this whole century.
There are certain things that Carolina should be desperate for, and you shouldn't have to be down 18 for those to show up.
Yeah.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan from live where that game took place here in the Spectrum Center in Charlotte. Clemson beating UNC. They'll face Duke later tonight with another tall task on their hands. Before we move on, and you will hear 2 minutes of gold from Adam Gold all about the Canes loss last night. Dennis, you have something you'd like to tell the people?
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for my friends over at Law Tiger. Speaking of desperation, I'm not going to lie. I'm desperate to get back out there on the motorcycle. But here's the thing as well. As a motorcycle rider, don't be so desperate to get out there on the road that you forget some of the things that actually keep you safe out there on the road. Like making sure your bike is in proper working order, making sure that your tires are inflated properly, that you check and walk around your bike, make sure there's no loose cables, no loose cords, make sure everything is working properly. But also one of the best things you can do for your motorcycle, wash your motorcycle. It's an underrated thing about taking care of your bike. Wash your motorcycle, gets a lot of the debris and all the junk and all the dust outside from your filters and so on. That way your bike can work properly. Take care of your bike. It takes care of you. But if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Simple. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS is a number to call. Contact them, like I said, before the insurance company. Insurance companies, they want to give you the least amount possible. Whereas Law Tigers, They're riders too. They know what your bike is worth. They know what your gear is worth. Most importantly, they understand the dangers of the road. Your case evaluation with Law Tigers, it's always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back with 2 minutes of gold, all about the Canes' loss last night, next.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Thanks. Got my seat cushion, crossword puzzle, and can't forget the hand sanitizer. Okay, show me the waiting room.
No need for all that. You can stay in your car.
I'll stay in my car? Get out.
Yep, you stay in. It'll just be 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Get out.
Go ahead, sit back and relax.
Well, I guess I'll save all this for the DMV. If only they took 10 minutes, am I right? I'm sorry.
Take 5. The stay in your car 10-minute oil change.
Everybody in your crew identifies as either Big Mac Burger, McNuggets, or McCrispy Sandwich. But you're the Filet-O-Fish Sandwich all day. That crispy fish, that savory tartar sauce, that melty cheese, that pillowy bun. Yeah, you get it. Every time.
Now, enjoy a Filet-O-Fish and a 10-piece McNuggets. Mix and match any two for just $6 at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary. Single item at regular price cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
If you're ready to give your home a fun facelift, I know just the place to visit. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here for Atlantic Spas and Billiards, which is a unique store that has a tremendous selection of indoor and outdoor games, like foosball, shuffleboard, table tennis, and so much more. In addition to a billiard and dart pro shop, plus they have a grill selection just in time for grilling season. And don't worry about getting it all home because they'll deliver it right to your doorstep. Serving the Raleigh area for over 39 years, come visit Atlantic Spas and Billiards today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. I am here with Patrick Day of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I'm on your website. Gutter helmets right on the front of the website. Do you have a gutter helmet to fit my head? I have a small head.
We have a gutter helmet for every head, Adam. So anyhow, if you give us a call, we'll come out and take a look at your windows, doors, siding, roofing, gutters, and of course we can do the gutter helmet. We have financing programs that are really good. So we have like 12 months with 0 payments for 12 months. You don't have to pay anything. So if you're thinking about home improvements and you're thinking you're saving up for it, just come on and see us and we'll go ahead and get you set up and get your project done and you can pay in 12 months from now.
I feel like you're speaking directly to me. If it's for the exterior of your home, there is no better place than the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can find them online, aluminumcompany.com. Siding, roofing, windows, entry doors, storm doors, and the world-famous gutter helmets. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, 1-800-672-4348.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We are recording, not recording. We are, I'll tell you why I'm a little flustered right now in a second.
We're live.
We are live for today's show from Charlotte, the ACC Tournament Spectrum Center. We are courtside right now, and the reason why I had the giggles coming out of break is the mascots have taken over in front of us. They are playing some form of kind of shoot-around / one-on-one with some media personnel, some ACC personnel, I should say. But we have Sebastian the Ibis for the Carolina Hurricanes. We have
being the Miami Hurricanes.
What did I say? The Carolina Hurricanes? Yeah,
That's
obviously
Stormy.
the Miami Hurricanes.
I'd be cool if Stormy showed up.
I would never
Woolly Bull?
disrespect Stormy on purpose. We got the Blue Devil, Clemson Tiger. Is there a name for the Cavalier from Virginia?
No, I don't know, to be honest with you. And that's someone that grew up right by the University of Virginia. I don't know.
It is a pretty.
What was that, Max?
I want to say his name is Cavman, but I'm not positive.
Cavman? Okay. You know what? I'm going to go back to the days where I didn't know his name. Cavman?
We'll go with Cavman.
All right.
It is, in
Cavman.
fact, Cavman.
If I say it loud enough.
Thank you, Max. See, Max is on it. Maxitology's on it. He said it is Cavman.
My point is, it kind of looks like cartoon characters are playing one-on-one in front of us, and it's a little goofy to see. But that's what you get at the ACC tournament. That's the reason you come on site to events like this, because you can't get this anywhere else.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Advantage of it being a mascot. If you miss, it's okay because you can just goof around and play it off.
Yeah. Oh,
you're like, I missed. We're like, who moved the rim?
Yeah. Well,
like, who moved the
say
rim?
Anything. Got to mime that. There's a 3 from the Clemson Tiger air ball. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
No more play-by-play of the mascots. Instead, I accidentally called the Miami Hurricanes the Carolina Hurricanes, probably because I knew what we were doing next. It's time for 2 minutes of gold, all about last night's Canes game from our very own Adam Gold.
Stand my ground, and I won't back down.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 saves that kept Carolina from getting 2 points against the St. Louis Blues last night. And it's all brought to us by Parkway Sleep Health Centers, parkwaysleep.com. Carolina dominated the first period. It might have been the best first period of the entire season. Had the puck in St. Louis's end the entire time. Tons of pressure on St. Louis's defense and their goalie, Jordan Bennington. Unfortunately, just the 1 goal. Hey, it was a worldie by Mark Jankowski, but that's all they got. Because right after that, Logan Stankoven should have scored.
Blake with room across Stankoven, and another brilliant save from Jordan Bennington.
This reminds me of the save Busty made on Martin Luther King Day on Tage Thompson. Everybody thought it was in.
Post Bennington's pad, and it just stuck there. How does that not end up in the back of the net? Do not know. That was indicative of the rest of the night. Carolina, shorthanded. Best chance the rest of the way right here.
And here comes Jarvis. He's got Aho with him, but Jarvis with the lane. Jarvis, Aho, shoots, and another massive save by Bennington. This one shorthanded to keep us tied at 1.
Of course, Jarvis and Aho are going to combine on the shorthanded chance. Still, don't know how Sebastian didn't score and make Carolina a 1-goal leader at the time. It would have put Carolina in front. Unfortunately, it was Jimmy Snuggerud's second goal that did in Carolina, then the empty netter, and it's a 3-1 loss. They played well enough. They didn't play great in the second and third periods, but they played well enough where that should have been a win. The other goalie really stole 2 points from Carolina. Parkway Sleep Health Center. Sound sleep. Sound off. I hate the other team's goalies.
With Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to Adam Gold for 2 minutes of gold there. I will say I have a love-hate relationship with the other team's goalies. When they stop Canes goals, I hate them. When they let them in, I love them very much. And that's very much a day-to-day kind of love-hate back and forth. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Again, thank you to Adam for putting together 2 minutes of gold all about the game last night. Here in the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, we are now going to turn our attention towards the Dean's List. Well, I guess first up on the Dean's List, we have to put the Duke Blue Devil because of the mascots that are playing in front of us, and it's all 4 for the teams that are still alive in the ACC men's basketball tournament.
Okay.
He is the only one I've seen make any shots. He made 1 banked-in free throw. Everybody else is just throwing up junk.
I saw the Clemson Tiger make a little runner in the lane. So
Okay.
we'll give him that.
All right. So well, they're playing. So,
They are.
So they're the most ready. But it is
the Tiger.
I would not claim to see a lot of great basketball from the mascots. But in more serious.
Oh, okay. Clemson Tigers hit a corner. It hit a 3.
Oh.
Let's go. Is that an omen for tonight?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
If Clemson's knocking down from 3, that's going to be tough. Although I will say, he's a little bit distracted by the crowd now.
Yeah.
1-3, it goes to his head. Let's get back into the more serious Dean's List. First, and heck, these mascots may be a part of it. I'm putting college basketball.
Okay.
Now, this is ESPN specific, but that's just because that's where the article that I read kind of targeted. ESPN delivered its most, and the season is still going on, but the regular season's complete. Its most watched men's college basketball regular season in more than a decade.
On ESPN or just
ESPN? This is ESPN numbers, right? Because ESPN isn't going to brag about what we watched on CBS.
That's fair.
But across ESPN platforms, here it is. Viewership increased 25% compared to last season and marked the network's strongest regular season performance since 2014-15, which means, there was significantly less streaming and everything else that they were competing with back then. So this college basketball season, and I think a lot of it has to do with the uptick in ACC play and ESPN's relationship with the ACC, really captivated the hearts and minds of viewers, which it's good health for the sport, and it continues to reinforce one of my known truisms, which is basketball still matters.
Yeah.
When everybody says football is king, I agree with that, but I halt before I say it's the only thing. Football is king of popularity, but basketball still matters in college sports, and those numbers show it.
Yeah, I think there's two things. One, I think gambling helps because people like live sports betting and all that stuff. There definitely is an appetite for that for sure. But the quality of basketball, college basketball, is so much better than it was, I think, even just 3 or 4 years ago. And obviously the ACC in particular is good. And it helps when you have big brands like Duke, Carolina, Virginia, some of these other national brands that people recognize that are good because because the casual fans understand who they are. But the quality of play is just so much better, especially if you look at the freshman class in college basketball this year. It is absolutely stacked. Absolutely stacked. We got the benefit and the luxury of watching 2 of the top 3 or 4 with Cam Boozer and Caleb Wilson right in the triangle this year. So we got blessed with that. So this is the level of talent and the quality of play this year was absolutely fantastic.
Let's throw some players on the Dean's list. How about Henry Vasar? Yeah. I know his team didn't win, but when you post a scoring career high and a rebounding career high, you throw in 2 assists and 2 blocks. That's a pretty good stat line for the big from Carolina yesterday against Clemson. How about Isaiah Evans on the Dean's list?
Yeah.
I believe scoring career high for him.
It was
32 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and a steal. Duke needed every single one of them from both Isaiah Evans and Cam Boozer, who combined for 56, I think it ended up being, 55 maybe. That's a lot of points from 2 guys, and they needed every one in the 1-point win. And then from NC State, I'm throwing Paul McNeil. Paul McNeil on the Dean's list, 26 points, 6 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. As NC State mounted a late flurry, he had 10 points in the last 3 minutes. So that is a lesson, right? Fire away, Paul.
Yeah.
Right? Fire away like time is running out because you're a shot maker. And then also he was comfortable in kind of one of those pressure moments for his team. So they're all on the Dean's list. And then last one for you.
Okay.
I'm putting the Big 12. They bailed on the LED screen floor.
Yeah, they did.
Which most people are like flaming them for, like it's some kind of horrendous decision that they made. Listen, I love that the ACC didn't have to do it. Somebody's got to be the guinea pig. But they tried something cool, right? Tried to make their conference tournament something different and newsworthy. It didn't work. They took in the information. They pivoted. Now the semifinals and finals will be on regular hardwood, and they're moving on. It's kind of the way these things are supposed to go. Obviously, you wish there could have been more, I guess, testing, but you can't really test game situations without games. So I give them credit for trying it, and I give them credit for acknowledging it was a miss and moving on.
Hey, you thought outside the box. You tried it. Like you said, okay, didn't work. You pivot, and you pivoted quickly. Props.
I think
props on it. Again, they tried something different. They tried to give something a little bit creative for fans and the experience for people in the building and watching on TV. Okay, it didn't work, but at least you tried something.
Do you remember slam ball back in the day with the trampolines?
Oh, absolutely. It had like a little hot comeback for a sec there.
I'm thinking the LED floor needs to just be for like a different sport where like the 3-point line moves every possession. And there's little 4-point shots that are constantly moving and like you need to have things going on. And look, the inbounds, now we're playing on a smaller court, and then it needs to be like a video game / deal, not for the Big 12 tournament, right? The ACC tournament is pretty good on hardwood.
Might be onto something here.
But a new, like a side basketball sport, LA Olympics.
Wait, you might be onto something here, actually. Like, for real.
How funny would it be if, like, slowly the court's getting smaller?
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're playing on like a 4 foot wide strip from bucket to bucket. Just make it ridiculous. But that's a conversation for another day. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Should we go photobomb the ACC Network crew little class picture here?
I mean, I see Carlos Boozer, I think Joel Berry, Luke Hancock. They're taking pictures with a bunch of other people.
And the mascots.
And the mascots. There's a whole bunch of other people.
I think if we got in the back, they would never know. So let's go try. We'll take a break. When we come back, Duke, how did they handle not having Caleb Foster, Pat Gungba, and the 50 minutes roughly that they traditionally get from those two guys, both out with injuries? Stick around. But first, I actually stick around even quicker because I have some great news for you. Bailey's Fine Jewelry has the largest Omega boutique of its kind in the country at their Village District location in Raleigh. We're talking iconic Speedmasters, Seamasters, right? Your favorite, the one you're thinking of, Movie Spy. That's exactly the one I'm talking about. He wears Seamasters. There's the DeVilles, the Constellations, if you're looking to get a little dressier. There is everything you could possibly imagine from one of the most popular luxury watch brands in the world right in our backyard. Village District location in Raleigh of Bailey's Fine Jewelry. While you're there, if you're there checking out the Omegas, you might as well look in the case for the pre-owned and vintage Rolex, the pre-owned and vintage Cartiers, the new Blancpains and Glashütte Originals and everything else they have. But I spend a lot of time in that Omega boutique for sure. Let them know, by the way, when you stop out there, Village District location in Raleigh of Bailey's Fine Jewelry, that you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Now we'll take a break and come back talking Duke basketball and how they handled the 2 injury absences in their ACC tournament opener yesterday.
This is Ray Womble Jr. from J.E. Womble & Sons in Lillington. Spring is almost here and grass cutting will be in full force. Bobcat zero-turn mowers will make your lawn maintenance so much easier. We're offering up to a $1,250 instant rebate and 0% financing on select Bobcat mowers. Now's the time to upgrade to a brand new Bobcat that brings tough to turf. And remember, if J.E. Womble & Sons doesn't have it, you don't need it.
Global Golf, Carolina's home to the largest selection of pre-owned golf gear, is having a 2-day sidewalk sale this Friday and Saturday only with huge deals. Drivers starting at $50, apparel starting at $25, shoes starting at $40, and golf bags starting at $50. Only at the Global Golf Outlet Store, located on 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. Global Golf, home of the best deals in golf.
Dugout has double the madness this March. Catch all the tourney games on the Dugout Tavern and Grill's massive 16-foot surround sound video wall. On top of that, we've got St. Patty's Day parties. Dugout has $20 Corona buckets, Modelo bucket specials, New Belgium Voodoo Ranger IPA pints for $5.50, and New Belgium is also sponsoring our bracket prize packs. Free to play. Plus, we've got beer reps coming in every weekend to treat the crowd to giveaways. Catch all the March action at the Dugout Tavern and Grill on Kelly Road in Apex.
Hi friends, this is Mark Pons with Chapel Hill Tire. Spring break is here. Whether you're heading to the beach, the mountains, or just getting out of town for a few days, make sure your car is ready for the trip. At Chapel Hill Tire, our team of ASE certified technicians can help with brakes, oil changes, and the routine maintenance that keeps your drive smooth and stress-free. With 13 locations across Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Carrboro, Apex, and Cary, there's always a Chapel Hill Tire close by. Schedule your appointment today at chapelhilltire.com and drive happy.
Are you tired of getting hammered by high interest debt? Mortgage over 6%, credit cards and car loans at 10, 20%? Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is here with the answer you've been waiting on, the all-in home refi. One fast, easy solution to lock in the lowest rate in 3 years and wipe out all those nasty loans. One homeowner got their APR down to 4.99%, paid off over $80,000 in high interest loans, and saved over $2,000 a month. And listen, while some lenders charge up to $10,000 in fees to do this, Loan Pronto's cost is just $995. $995, and you can wipe out your high interest loans all at once. It's the all-in refi from Loan Pronto. Super fast, super cheap, no hard credit pull up front, often no appraisal, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Loan Pronto, A+ BBB rated with nearly 3,000 5-star Google reviews. Call now and ask about the all-new all-in refi. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
5 seconds to go. Florida State trying to win it right here. And it's over. Duke survives it. 80-79.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Some news out of the I guess it's post-ACC tournament. But Pitt has announced or let it be known to the reporters that they'll be bringing back former Duke guard Jeff Capel as their head coach. Some speculated that perhaps with the way the last handful of seasons have gone, he may not be on his way back to Pitt for next season, but they are bringing him back. And I like the patience. I think he's a good coach. Every time I talk to him, I go, they're on the brink of something. And we'll see if that patience is rewarded. But a little update for ACC basketball fans out there from where we sit, right on the court side of the ACC men's basketball tournament floor at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, where later today, Duke is going to be playing Clemson. Or I should say later tonight, 9:30 tip-off expected for that one. And
you can listen to all the games right here, by the way, tonight, right here on 99.9 The Fan. So we're going to take it live all the way to 6:30, right into the ACC tournament pregame between Virginia, Miami, which is going to roll right into Duke Clemson.
And if you want the Duke broadcast, still our sister station, Buzz Sports Radio, the national broadcast will be right here on 99.9 The Fan. Here's what Duke has to decide. And as John Shire pointed out, they have a little less time to decide it than normal. Traditionally, the number 1 seed plays the noon game on that'd be Thursday. So then they play the late game on Friday, and there's more time there for them to recover. But obviously the ACC, and I assume their broadcast partners, prioritize putting Carolina and Duke in the primetime windows on Thursday. So they played the later games, and then also Duke will play again tonight.
I did talk to a couple people related to that situation, and they said, you're used to playing at 7 or 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So if anything, you actually are maintaining your routine by playing in those games as opposed to playing at noon.
I mean, there's, glass half full, glass half empty there, because he's obviously saying or thinking they just want more time to recover. Yeah. And then, it is what it is. But he made a little quip about it at the beginning of his presser yesterday, so I thought I'd pass that along. But in that time, right, from the end of their game yesterday to when they tip off today at 9:30, they have to decide whether Florida State got them on the ropes, unlike really any team, especially any team of Florida State's caliber. If Florida State got them on the ropes because Caleb Foster and Pat Gungba were out, or if there was some other cause that allowed Florida State to, get up by 8 in the second half. Because there were points in time yesterday where they didn't really have a traditional ball handler on the floor. Caden Boozer, who started the game and did not have a great game for most of it, also got in foul trouble. So he got 2 quick fouls. He goes out, and you're looking at it going like, I'm not sure who's the point guard on this team. And they kind of at times had Nick Hamania taking it over.
For good chunks of time.
Which is not a role that he's traditionally played for Duke. And at times they almost did it like, whoever has the ball brings it down. Yeah. Pickup style. Like you get a rebound, we're all just running back on offense, so you dribble it up. And if that negatively impacted their rhythm, they're going to have to find a way to deal with that, right? And they're going to have to find a way to make sure Caden Boozer doesn't get in foul trouble, or they're going to have to find someone else that they're comfortable playing a point guard role. If that wasn't the reason why Florida State was able to put them in a hole, then you don't worry about it. Kind of roll with the same plan. And you focus on the other things, the toughness, the rebounding, perimeter defense, whatever the things were that could also be holding you back. Let's hear from John, that being John Shire, after the game on what he called embracing the challenge of being down 2 starters.
I think you can spend all your time thinking about why, or your disappointed that, for Caleb, for Pat, for our team, or you can get to the next play and really focus on what you can control. And ultimately, we have to have their backs, because Caleb was in every huddle, talking. He was incredible. Pat's energy was great. So that's where we've put our focus towards. And we're no excuses. We got to step up with the team that we have. Get those guys. They're working like crazy every day. And we got to figure this out, though. I thought it put us in some tough positions tonight that you can't really practice, and we'll learn a lot from it.
Okay, so I wouldn't say that was either side of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
I think that was, as most answers probably are, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? Like, were they where they needed to be all the time? No. Was that probably partially because they didn't have their point guard setting up the offense, initiating the offense? Yes, but it also was because Florida State gave them fits. And Florida State gave them fits last time.
They did. It was what, 4-point game?
4-point game. Florida State scored 87 points against Duke when Florida State was in the middle of like a real low in their season. They started the ACC schedule losing 5 straight, and right in the middle of that, they scored 87 on Duke. They didn't win the game. Duke scored 90-something, but that's a lot on a team that averages only like 62 allowed. Shire spoke after the game more on that same subject, this time about having a variety of primary ball handlers throughout the game.
Well, look, it's the part of the strength of the team we've built is collective ball handling and decision making. And Nick has a background of being a point guard. Cam basically is a point guard as well, even though he doesn't look like one. So it's going to be by committee. We have multiple guys that can bring it up. Isaiah had initiated some tonight, Dame. But Nick and Cam can have a great control of the game when Caden isn't in there.
This is going to maybe sound a little weird, but once they get the ball across half court, and they can do that however they want, right? You can pass it up. You can have really anybody on their roster aside from 1 or 2 are good enough ball handlers to get it across. I think they almost want to operate as if Cam Boozer and Malik Brown are their quote unquote point guards.
Yeah.
And just because they're such good passers, they don't. You don't have to think of your point guard or your offense initiator as the guy dribbling with your feet on the edge of the logo, holding up 1-4 high, 1-4 high. It can be Malik Brown with the ball at the elbow extended, surveying the defense and picking and choosing where they go. They have some guys with some really, really good creative eyes. It's just not, they're all not Chris Paul, right? They're all not dribbling, barking out orders. No, you here. No, you here. Set a pick. Screen. Backside. Like it's not all the stereotypical point guard thing. I think they can be fine. They just have to, kind of embrace the positionless of their roster at this point in time.
I think it's the evolution of basketball. We see the kind of like that positionless basketball. It's interesting you mentioned Hemanga being that secondary point guard, I guess you could say, when Caden Boozer went out of the game. And we asked Nick Hemanga after the game. I was in his media scrum, and someone asked, like, how much did you get a chance to practice that after the Foster injury against Carolina this past Saturday? And he goes, 1 practice. He said, 1 practice. I said, how did you get the confidence to come out here in an ACC tournament game, having practiced 1 day, 1 practice at point guard, and you got to go out here and do that, especially when Caden gets in the foul trouble. He goes, yeah, a lot of film study and just basically believing in myself. But he did say, I was that in high school, but obviously haven't been doing that here.
And I'll go
1 practice
with you saying the evolution of basketball. It sparked a story, and it's sparked by the guy who's standing at midcourt, Carlos Boozer.
Yeah.
He obviously does work with ACC Network. ACC Network is all over the floor here at the Spectrum Center where we're doing the show and where the games will be played later. There was a Duke podcast earlier this season. I don't know when, but it was Jason J. Williams and Carlos Boozer interviewing each other about their ride through Duke basketball. And one of the anecdotes they told was that Boozer was a guard in high school. He's like, I played on a team where we didn't really have, guys that could handle the ball. So I brought the ball up. I initiated the offense. If we did pick and roll, I was the ball handler. And he got to Duke, and this was what, 2000 maybe, 2001, maybe a little earlier, 99. And he goes, I got to Duke, and the first thing they did was like, stop all that dribbling, put your back to the basket. We're going to teach you how to post up. And Jay laughed and basically said, like, so you had 6'9", 6'10" guard skills, and they immediately went, oh, no, that's not how basketball is played. And that's kind of how it was back then. You look at what Cam Boozer is asked to do, and, whatever, 6'10", 6'11", guard skills, and they're like, let's build up those guard skills, right? It's a completely different game in that way. So back then, if, say, like Jay Will and Chris Duhon got hurt for that Duke team, they would have gone to whoever their next point guard was.
Yeah.
And that point guard would have had the ball in their hands a lot because Carlos Boozer came in with guard skill set and they said, put that away, right? With nowadays where Cam Boozer is encouraged to use those sort of things, if Caleb Foster gets hurt, they don't have to go to the next point guard. They can go to Cam Boozer and say, hey, use those guard skills. You're running the show now, and he'll be fine. He will be absolutely fine. And that's Clemson's challenge to deal with now that point guard, which is a big dude.
Mm-hmm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9. The Fan will continue to preview the Duke versus Clemson ACC semifinal, which will be played later tonight. Before we do, though, it's almost 4 o'clock, and that means it's almost time for football at 4. We look at a big worry, concern perhaps, for the Carolina Panthers coming out of free agency frenzy. Stick around.
SoundStation and Security, your automotive and audio experts. Car audio, car video, home theater, wheels and tires, and so much more. Plus, did you know SoundStation and Security offers full service for your vehicle? Alignments, inspection, oil changes, window tinting, and custom exhaust. And with a variety of financing options, SoundStation and Security can help you get what you need today. 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. SoundStation and Security. Visit myhotsound.com.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. It's the best time of the year for college basketball, and Buffalo Brothers is a slam dunk. Best place in the Triangle to watch all the big games. They always have great drink specials, and check this out. Every Monday, half-price wings all day. That's half-price wings all day Monday. Dine in only. Now that's a deal, baby. Check out any of their 5 Triangle locations or online at buffbrothers.com. Aw, man! Now I want wings!
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or price stopped, opt out.
Hey man, how did the date go?
I had to cancel. I don't get paid until Friday.
You didn't know that you can get up to a $750 paycheck advance with the current app?
Where was that information yesterday?
Just text them, see if you qualify. $750? Boom! And right now, they're offering a $75 bonus when you set up an eligible direct deposit.
Think I should call her back?
Yeah.
Need money before payday? Current has you covered. Set up an eligible direct deposit to see if you qualify for a paycheck advance of up to $750. Hurry and receive an extra $75 sign-up bonus right now. Text BETTER to 323232. That's BETTER to 323232. BETTER to 323232.
Paycheck advance is offered by FineCo Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com/radio or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Nice afternoon out there. After a cold start, we climbed to 61 this afternoon under mostly sunny skies. And overnight tonight will be a bit more mild. We'll see overnight lows in the mid-40s. Such a pretty Saturday in our forecast. We'll see a high of 70 degrees under mostly sunny skies. But late Sunday into Monday, a chance of showers and storms.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 118 points to 46,559. This hour of the drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call Law Tigers before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is time for Football at 4. Even though we're courtside at a basketball tournament, Football at 4 means Football at 4 on The Drive with Tim Donnelly. So let's have a specific conversation about the Carolina Panthers, one specific position.
I mean, we are in Charlotte. Bank of America literally is right down the road.
That is true. And who knows, maybe Yosh Nijman is going to take in some basketball because he did announce on social media, 2 days ago now, that he is retiring. And if you don't know who Yosh Nijman is, he was in the mix as a swing tackle for the Panthers. Virginia Tech guy, spent some time with the Green Bay Packers before coming over to the Panthers. Had I think a really good skill set for the role he was asked to play as backing up the right and left tackle. He had some starting experience during his time with Green Bay. But he announced he's retiring 2 days ago. Ike Ekwonu, just to set the stage here for left tackles with the Panthers. Ike Ekwonu, former NC State guy, top 10 pick in the NFL draft, ruptured his patellar tendon on January 11th in the playoff game versus the Rams. And that is an injury that, guys that size sometimes have struggled to return from quickly. Not saying he can't, just saying history, the limited history we have, the limited examples we have, it's a tough injury to come back from. With that being said, they signed, and actually they just officially announced the signing this afternoon. They didn't announce it with the rest of the free agent class. Stone Forsythe signed a 1-year, $2 million deal with less than that, significantly less than that, guaranteed. He's good at what I call good in theory. 6'8", 310. Started 13 games last year. Crossed paths with Dave Canales during their time in Seattle. So all of that is like, oh, perfect. This is a guy. Maybe he could work into the starting lineup. The advanced analytics say you really hope not. Right? Allowed a ton of sacks. The win rates and everything not there. I wrote one down just because it was stark. He allowed 11 sacks in 13 games last year, which was dead last out of 89 qualified offensive tackles per Pro Football Focus. Number 89 out of 89.
That's not good.
Not great.
Again, hopefully they signed him to just be the backup swing tackle.
Or perhaps a placeholder until they get their swing tackle, and then you're moving on from them and eating $500,000 or whatever it would be in dead cap. They do have draft picks. I have them written down here. In the day 1 and day 2 category, they have a first, a second, and a third. That would be pick 19 overall, 51 overall, and 83 overall. This is where it gets, I don't want to say hairy, but this is where it gets a little, you gotta play it well. I've looked up on NFL Mock Draft Database, which is a consensus big board. They have, I wrote it down, 113 industry big boards that they average.
That's a lot of big boards.
Analysts, they have beat reporters from every team. And then they average it. In the first round, 5 offensive tackles. Okay. Maui Goa from Miami, 5th. Spencer Fano from Utah, 10th. Freeling from Georgia, 14th. Caden Proctor from Alabama, 24th, and Caleb Lomu, also from Utah, number 26. They also have 2 in the second round. Blake Miller from Clemson, 36th, and Max Ihaw Nachor from Arizona State, number 37. Unless, then this is where, you left tackle isn't somewhere to be like, and if we don't get one, that's okay, right? Perhaps, you think, hey, if we don't get the depth at safety we need, we could always kick a veteran corner inside. You know what? If we don't get a tight end that we love, we could run more 4 wide receiver sets. There is none of that for left tackle, right? There is no, well, if you don't get a left tackle that's good enough, we can hide it. It's a guy who is on an island against some of the best edge rushers in the league, protecting your number one asset being your quarterback and your ability to pass the football. So if I'm Dan Morgan, the GM, or anybody in his inner circle, unless I really like all 7 of those tackles that I just mentioned, I would be sweating bullets on draft day if they don't make another significant addition in the form of a left tackle. If you don't have a veteran fallback that you're like, it wouldn't be ideal, but we could start them 15 games on your roster going into a draft, which this year's draft is very unpredictable. There's really, not super obvious, oh, these guys will all go top 10. There could be a run on tackles. And if 5 go above you, Rich, you're picking 19th, and right now the consensus big board has 5 in the top 26.
Yeah.
If there's a little bit of a run and you're going, well, we'll settle for this other guy, I don't know if you settle at left tackle. So I bring all of this up to say, I think you got to be proactive in how you solve left tackle. If there's a trade up, I don't love trading up in drafts, but if that means I don't have to worry about getting a dude I like at, the second or third most important position on an offense, you might have to do it. Unless, and I'll actually give this caveat, unless there's, you're getting insight from your medical staff saying Ike Ekwonu is a superhuman. He's Wolverine. He's healing faster than anyone you've ever seen. I'm very, I look at this entire kind of roster setup and go, I don't love the way this looks. Now, if you told me, your favorite left tackle in the draft fell to 19, I'd go, wow, that solved that problem. But you can't control how the 18 picks above you go. You can't control if one of those guys is going to be there.
A lot different than picking 8 last year. At least at 8, it's like, okay, we have these 4 or 5 guys that we really like. We can just pick whichever one that we want. We definitely want McMillan, but if we have to settle for one of these 2 or 3 other guys, then we're cool. Yeah, pick 19, it's kind of like, I don't know, because other teams might jump back up in the first round to take some guys that you're hoping might fall. It's you never know. You simply never know. Like you said, it's a lot harder to control what 19 is going to look like. You're at the mercy of a lot of other decisions.
I think if you do your scouting, right, and you go as in-depth as you need to, and you talk to their coaches, you watch all the film, you talk to the janitor at their middle school to make sure they're good people. You do the combine questions, you ask them all the 2 trains are going in opposite directions for an hour, one at 65 miles an hour, one at 40. How far away are they? You do all your breakdowns. And you love, I would say, all 7 of those names, I would feel okay. But if there's one where you're like, we just don't want to get left with that one, or if there's 2 where you're like, as long as we get one of these 5, I would be very, very nervous. Because, let's be real. Bryce Young, he's mobile, which is important, and that helps. He's not the biggest dude in the world.
No.
And I think he's at his best when he's throwing in rhythm, when he can step up into throws, when he has a pocket to work with. And also when you have an effective running game, which obviously left tackle has a lot to do with that as well. So Stone Forsythe, the more I researched, the less I was like, he could be a stopgap. If he has to start for a month, that's okay. More I'm like, if he's out there for anything but field goal block, field goal protection, I should say, I'm going to be pretty nervous. And I don't see anyone else on the roster unless you're moving Moten over to left and trying to finagle your way through the right.
Yeah, I don't think that happens.
I don't know if there's a better option than that. You start to get to the point where you cycle back, right? You know when you open the fridge,
oh yeah,
and you go, nothing I'm hungry for. You close it, you go open the pantry, nothing I'm hungry for, and then you go back to the fridge just with lower standards. All right, you know
I'll
what?
Go with that.
I will go with that.
Yeah,
you're gonna
cheese stick. All right, let's go.
You're gonna go there with left tackle, where you're like, I don't want to move Moten over there. I don't like that one. So then you're going to go over to your bench and you're going to go Stone Forsythe. That doesn't hit either. You go back to Moten with lower standards. All right, I guess we're going, that you're at that point unless you solve it in the draft or you solve it in free agency. So, we went into the offseason with edge rusher. Enter Jalen Phillips.
Yep.
Cool. Off-ball backer, Devin Lloyd. Cool. If you're repeating anything, if you have something circled on the whiteboard in the GM's roster, or in the GM's office, left tackle. Again, with the caveat being, if Ike is a X-Man and he's going to be healthier than anybody imagined, that's one thing. Or if you like every draft tackle and you're like, whichever one falls to us, we'll be happy. That is another way where they are probably chilling more than I am going to be from the outside.
Do you think there's a possibility with the free agent additions that they made that they double dip offensive line in the first 3 rounds?
Max, go ahead and hit the breaking news.
Fire the breaking news.
This timing could not be better.
Let's go.
The Panthers have agreed to terms with offensive tackle Rasheed Walker on a 1-year deal per Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network.
See, we solved it.
I mean, that is
We literally just solved it.
Unbelievable timing.
Look at us. Solved it.
I promise you, we did not have that planned out or anything, but it is kismic.
Solved it
in the timing. I believe as we look here.
I think it was a cap cut, wasn't he?
Yes. Okay, perfect. This is the player who I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
As obviously the Stone Forsythe situation showed, like, it's really hard to know how good an offensive tackle is looking at the measurables and just the history, right? It takes a deeper dive. But ESPN put out a list of the top 100 players available at the beginning of this free agency period. So the top 100 free agents: number 1, Trey Hendrickson; number 2, Tyler Linderbaum; number 3, Jalen Phillips. These are guys that broke the bank, nearly $30 million a year for all of them. Alec Pierce broke the bank, number 4. Number 5 is Rasheed Walker, offensive tackle out of Green Bay. He is entering his age 26 season. I'll read you the blurb. Walker's pass block win rate is 93.8%.
I'll take it.
That ranks 11th among the 68 qualifying offensive tackles.
Sold.
Technique could still improve. He lacks a strong anchor, but he has the footwork and mobility to match the speed of edge rushers. At a premium position, Walker will see heavy interest in free agency. Now, the fact that he signed this late on a 1-year deal, maybe they overestimated his market a bit there.
Yeah.
But if everyone else is overestimating a market and the Panthers can move in and get a discount on a 1-year deal, that gives Icky enough time to get healthy and you can figure out what you want to do.
And props on Dan Morgan recognizing the market, saying, hey, you know what? We can go get this guy, even if it is for just a year. Why not? Why not? That's perfect. I like it. Fine. Done. Yep. You address the need. And Dan Morgan found the value in it too. Chef Boyardee, D for Dan Morgan. He is cooking this offseason, Tim. We haven't even got to the draft.
Well, we'll have this conversation maybe more so another day. The roster, I don't want to say complete, nearly complete enough.
Yeah.
That you can truly go best player available at every pick in the draft.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about filling gaps. You have your center, you have your left tackle, you have your off-ball backer, you have your edge rusher. If you're comfortable, which you probably should be as a at least a temporary solution. If you're comfortable with like a Lathan Ransom playing more safety minutes after being a mid-round pick last year, there is no dire need now going into the NFL draft.
Nice.
There is no hey, if this player doesn't fall to us, we're messed over, the way I just described you would feel if one of your good tackles, one of your favorite tackles, didn't fall to you at 19. So credit to the Panthers, and thank you for waiting until 4:14 to make that known so we could get our entire conversation in before you made it all stale.
So yeah, we solved it. See, there it is. Done. There it is. Done.
Where's the Staples button? That was easy. Just smack that bad.
Nailed it.
The drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Panthers get a tackle as we're talking about their need for a tackle.
I'm giving us credit for this. We spoke it into existence.
There it is. Now you don't have to worry about which tackles fall to 19th.
You're welcome. But actually, I'm okay with the actually. If you do like one at 19, whether was it Freeling from Georgia, if one of these other guys falls, it's at 19. You really feel like, hey, this guy can be a starter long term for us. I'm okay taking that at 19, especially knowing that Walker and Forsythe are just on 1-year contracts. Like, you can't look at just 2026 and say, oh, we don't need a tackle. You have to have a long-term answer as well. I'm okay if you take one, because even if Ike Ekwonu does come back, eventually, and not that far from now, Taylor Moton will be retiring. You still need to invest in that position in some way, shape, or form in the draft.
I can say this now confidently. If a tackle is the best player available when you're picking,
take them.
Take them.
Yep.
And if they are some other position, take that one too.
Yeah.
The drive
or move up against Sonny Styles. You can do that too.
The drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's some football talk from here courtside at the ACC Tournament. Spectrum Center in Charlotte. We'll talk basketball. A comment from Will Wade yesterday has everybody twisting their mind into pretzels. Stick around to find out.
It's bracket time, baby. Get in on the madness with a basketball mayhem bracket challenge from 99.9 The Fan. Fill out your picks, and with a perfect bracket, you could score the $1 million national grand prize. That's right, $1 million. Dominate the local leaderboard and pocket $500 for being the best in the Triangle. Presented by the Powerhouse Pros at North Carolina Courage. Register now at 999thefan.com and let the madness begin.
I'm Neil, founder of Clay Room. When I found ceramics, I realized my calling was to give others the space to be creative. So I set out to open my own studio. Having a Chase Ink card has allowed us to grow it and bring people together. Now we're molding a creative community.
With the Chase Ink Business Cash Card, you can earn up to 5% cash back on business essentials, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products, so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly. Dennis Cox here with me in the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, where the ACC Tournament has been going on for the last few days. And we'll continue tonight with the semifinals and tomorrow with the championship. And we will get you ready for that. But I do think we have to give, as any former athlete would love to have happen, we're sitting here at Courtside Spectrum Center. Obviously, the ACC Network has a large presence at the ACC Tournament, and they're having like a little, sales client event thing going on the court in front of us. And a few of their talent are out there mingling. Carlos Boozer, Joel Berry, Luke Hancock, who are also happen to be ACC legends. And it was actually kind of fun to see. Luke Hancock, obviously a sharpshooter from his days with the Louisville Cardinal. You almost saw him calibrate like a sniper.
Yeah.
Where he took like 4 or 5 shots and didn't make them, but you could see each bit of information he was taking in, because, no offense to him, he's not still playing, right?
No.
He's not, going into year 12 in the league or whatever it would be. But then once he locked in, it was like, got it. And he hit 6 threes in a row with progressively more ball handling and progressively more, lean and off balance and just and the cool part about it, right? I'm not just sitting here telling a story about Luke Hancock and letting you all just be like, oh, okay, cool. But the thing was, there is something about a hot streak by a shooter that gets everyone jacked. And Carlos Boozer was standing next to him. And Carlos Boozer turned and looked at, I think it might have been Joel Berry to his right, with like a big, joyous, like kid on Christmas smile. Like, are you seeing this? He's locked in. He's got 5. He's got 6. And it stood out to me for this reason. Carlos Boozer was on the Redeem team in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Carlos Boozer is a 2-time All-Star. And Luke Hancock, shooting around with other members of the production staff, hitting 6 in a row, put a giant smile on his face. And I'm going like, all right, yeah, I'm cool with feeling as giddy as I am watching somebody knock down a bunch. And by the way, Luke Hancock, his record is probably like 80 in a row. Like 7 is 6 is not a ton for him. But when you see a shooter heat up, it's wildly exciting. And it's why every time, like, with Boozer, we'll use Duke, Isaiah Evans hits like 3 in a row. You're like grabbing the guy next to you, like, this could be it. He could be going for 30, like he did yesterday. Or as we transition into NC State, Paul McNeil yesterday.
Yeah, same thing.
Paul McNeil, in an effort to help NC State climb out of a hole, you could tell had a bit more of a green light than he normally gives himself, to where he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna let it fly. And knocking down shots, it builds that excitement. And, you can only imagine, for those of us that weren't here to experience it, I know many of you were, what that was like for the all-time great ACC shooters, right? The JJ Redicks of the world, where every game he hits 1 and you're going, oh, this could be it. He might score 40. Like it's just exciting. And it's why, quite frankly, we have so much fun coming to the ACC tournament every year. So let's talk NC State, right? Paul McNeil, I believe, has played his way into a ton of options, right? Meaning portal, probably would have professional opportunities, could stay at NC State. He has played his way into growing his value. And I would say the same with Matt Abel, another young player for NC State who's been coming off the bench but showing a tremendous skill set.
He's good.
And they, like everyone, are probably hearing whispers, rumors, reading blog posts, articles, podcasts about Will Wade and potentially LSU getting involved. Will Wade obviously coached LSU earlier in his career, had that program going in a positive direction. A bunch of things derailed it, some NCAA violations, on and on and on. We don't have to relitigate the past. But with that, when there is smoke for something like that, you're going to have to address it. So Will Wade, after they lost yesterday to Virginia, was asked in his post-game press conference if there had been any contact between his team and LSU, meaning his representatives and agency and everything, and LSU. And this is what he said at the podium yesterday.
No, is the job open there? Huh? No? So why would I'm not, listen, let me be very clear. I'm excited at NC State. I was hired at NC State to do a job. This wasn't going to take 1 year. I've already met with our administration about next year and some of the changes that we need to make and some of the things that we need to do to put this program where it deserves long term. So I'm not, I don't, I'm not on social media. I'm not into gossip. I'm not into any of that sort of stuff. But look, we're going to win, and we're going to win big at NC State, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do moving forward, and we have the resources we need. We have what we need, and it's on me and my staff to get the job done. And look, this year hasn't gone exactly how we wanted it to, but we're going to rally, and we're going to work hard, and we're going to have a team next year that's ready to roll.
Now, what did you hear just now. Did you hear Will Wade talking about the LSU job not being open? And did we all heard the same words, right?
Yeah.
Because I'll just give you a few examples.
All right, is it open?
No. Is that job open? No. So I'm not going to do it all for you. Yahoo Sports, Dan Wolken, the writer. Is LSU about to try to bring back Will Wade? Though the job isn't open yet, speculation persists. And Wade didn't exactly slam the door shut after NC State's loss to Virginia. Now we'll go to Corey Smith, our friend over at Pack Pride. Emergency podcast. Will Wade squashes LSU rumors after 81-74 loss to UVA. We can go to ESPN. Actually, this was from The Wire, AP. Will Wade dismisses LSU talk, ready to, quote, win big at NC State. It seems like, and then all of those articles and podcasts exist, and I encourage you all to go read them all for context. I'm not going to read you them all on air. It seems like a lot of people heard the same words and took different things away from it. He left the door ajar. That must mean he's considering it if it's there. Oh, he slammed it shut. He's definitely not going. The fact of the matter is it's probably somewhere in the middle. Instead of trying to decide definitively based on that answer what Will Wade is going to do forever, I have what I think is the best thing for State fans about that answer and the worst thing for State fans about that answer. The best thing is already met with the administration to fix things for next year.
Mm-hmm.
One, because I think there are things that need to be fixed. Two, you don't paint the walls of your house if you're going to knock down the wall to open up the space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't put the effort in if you're not going to be around to enjoy it or if it's not going to be there. The worst thing was he did not say out loud with no gray area, I will never take any other job no matter what the offer is, and especially not LSU, which is really what every fan wants the coaches that they like to say, right? I will coach here until they say, the school says I am no longer allowed to coach here, and you never have to worry about me leaving under my own volition. So take that, and I will put it in writing, and I will, at risk of perjury, put all of this into a deposition.
Have to bury me or fire me.
Exactly. Like, that's what you want to hear, and he's not going to say that.
No.
He's been around college basketball too long to know that the future is unpredictable, right? And there probably are dream jobs or Godfather offers out there that would make him consider it, and he doesn't want to lie. So he leaves the door open. With that being said, the reason why I started this conversation with Paul McNeil and Matt Abel is they're part of those conversations with the administration. You need to figure out which guys you want back, and you need to figure out what type of guys you need out of the portal and in high school recruiting, because year one, you get the on-ramp. Year two, you need to be winning, right? We're seeing Virginia with a first-year coach. They're still playing. They're the second seed in the ACC. FSU with Luke Laux. I thought they did a great job turning their season around with a first-year coach. There are coaches in the ACC.
Jay Lucas, who's playing against Virginia.
Jay Lucas in Miami.
Yeah.
Former Duke assistant. Like, first-year coaches are getting it done. So, expectations don't slow down. They get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, he's not going to comment on jobs that aren't open. He made that pretty clear. But he also made it sound like he's trying to fix the things he needs to fix at NC State. And I think if his energy is focused there, I like his chances of being able to do it.
Yeah, I got to make sure that you have the money to keep Matt Abel and Paul McNeil. Because those two guys if they go enter the transfer portal, are going to be a hot commodity for sure. And let's be honest, those two are very young, talented players. They're really, really good.
And especially McNeil, he fits in everywhere. Shooting translates to every offense. But not only do you need to afford them, you need to afford the players you need around them.
Yes.
Right? You need seven minimum dudes. Probably more.
Yeah, Holloman's a senior. Copeland, Williams.
Well, I'm just
Lubin.
talking basketball today in general.
Oh, yeah.
Spending your entire budget on two guys isn't going to win you an ACC, let alone a national championship.
No.
You need 7, 9, right? If you bad injury luck, you probably need 9. Speaking of, let's go to the game tonight. We'll talk Duke Clemson in a second, but first, injuries. A little bit of madness, right?
Yeah.
Buzzer beaters, a little bit of madness. If you want to get in on the madness, with the Fans Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge. This is an ad for the madness. I almost said adness. If you want to get in on the madness with the Fans Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge, fill out your picks, and if you beat the odds with a perfect bracket, you score the $1 million national grand prize. Dominate our local leaderboard and pocket $500 for being the best in the triangle. The Fans Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge is presented by North Carolina Courage. Take your shot. Register now at 999thefan.com. And obviously, when those brackets are released, you'll be right there and ready. Two teams that will be in the big dance. Duke, Clemson, tonight, 9:30. Here's the interesting part. There is one thing that Clemson has an obvious advantage at. I don't know if there's many more than one, but there is one thing that Clemson has an obvious advantage at.
What's that?
Clemson is deep, and right now Duke is not.
Yeah.
Clemson is comfortable, and we've seen it throughout this tournament. Before Carter Welling got hurt, they were going 5 on the bench deep. They were going 10 total guys in the rotation. Without Carter Welling, they're more down to 8 or 9, but they're comfortable with 9. Like the 9 guys have played minutes that matter for Clemson. We saw yesterday with Duke, with the injuries to Caleb Foster and Patrick Gongba, we thought there would be more of a 7-man rotation. Darren Harris really wasn't put into the rotation very much. I think part of that was because Florida State kept it close and was even ahead. So you kind of had to smoke them if you got them, right? You kind of had to play the dogs.
Only played 8 minutes.
So if it's a 9-man rotation to a 6-man rotation, that is one thing that Clemson can hang their hat on. I'm not sure, like I said, there's much else, right? Because with Welling, their big man hurt. He battled, or Nick Davidson, who took a lot of those minutes, battled with Henry Vasar yesterday. Vasar got the better of him, but Davidson had a double-double with 17 points and you know, kind of hung with him, traded blows. Cam Boozer's a different beast, right? Like that's a different task, and you probably might need all of your all hands on deck as post players. If somebody like Caden Boozer yesterday didn't have his best game, but also had a hard time getting into rhythm with foul trouble, you know, Clemson can send waves of perimeter players at Duke and try to make them, you know, earn their way up the floor, right? You can make them have to dribble 94 feet rather than, all right, we'll walk up the court, right? Like anybody can do at this level. And that might put a lot more pressure on a player like Nick Amania, who was tasked with kind of being the de facto point guard for stretches yesterday.
Handled it well, by the way.
Yeah.
I think overall, like, handled it quite well.
Some speed wobbles, a couple, I would say, like, probably would have been highlight passes in high school as a point guard. One hand baseball passes to a cutter where, like, you know, in high school, nobody else is seeing the game that fast. It's probably, you know, he gets away with it, but they ended up being turnovers. You'd assume that he would keep honing it in the more and more he does it at this level. But, right, with the building off of now, if that's what Clemson has, what does Duke have?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have more NBA talent. They have, quite frankly, their defense to fall back on.
Yeah.
Right? And Clemson does not have what maybe Florida State had, which was Florida State had 2 guys that were ready to make shots. They had 2 guys that combined for 53 points, perimeter players that were going to knock down shots and were going to create.
Clemson, Jones and McCray.
Correct. And McCray is the one that kept being singled out by John Shire in the postgame.
Mm-hmm. He was good.
They had straight scores. Clemson is more like, well, we might not have any 9 out of 10 scores, but we have a herd of 5 out of 10 scores. And against a Duke level defense, 5 out of 10 scorers don't usually have great games. Here's Nick Amania on the defense that ended up being the difference for them against Florida State, despite those 2 big scoring numbers.
Our defense, definitely our defense. We feel like once we get stops, we can get it going. I think Malik's so big for us. The possession where he got that deflection, and I was able to pass it back in bounds, and I think Slim got the layup. Just plays like that, momentum changer, or the one where he got a deflection at half court and got that layup. Those are just big plays that he makes for us, and it's so special.
They can always lean on their defense. And I mean, they have the scoring-wise, the second best defense in the country. Some of the advanced analytics say they are the best defense in the country as far as how inefficient they make their opponents. So if you know, they acknowledge when things get tough, this is how we get it going. Clemson's going to be in for a long day, right? We saw it yesterday once at Florida State went up 8 in the second half. Duke didn't suddenly start running elite offense. They didn't suddenly start doing anything crazy. They more so started getting deflections, jumping into the passing lanes, getting into fast break opportunities, and finishing. And once that happened, they got the ball rolling downhill and went on that big run that ended up being the difference.
Also doesn't hurt. We have 22 offensive rebounds.
22 offensive rebounds. Florida State, those two players I mentioned, that really did kind of carry Florida State. Not the biggest guys in the world.
No.
So yes, down low, the Duke strength was there, and Clemson has some bigger guys, but they don't have their biggest, right? With Welling out, I think that could be another area where Duke wears on you a bit with offensive rebounds.
And by the way, that's 22 offensive rebounds. You out-rebounded Florida State yesterday 46-25, and that's without your starting center in Pat Gumba, and that's also with Malik Brown getting into foul trouble as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you still were able to dominate them on the glass. The way their perimeter players are still able to come in and rebound as well, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal what they do on the boards because they've been doing that to everyone.
It's
nearly everyone all season.
It's an underrated part about their roster, and it's hard to be underrated at anything when you're Duke. Because
that's true. Duke. When you're ranked number one in the country, yeah.
But and you're that brand, and you get all the spotlight. But I believe they're top 4 or 5 in average height. They're one of the top 4 or 5 tallest rosters in the country.
Yeah.
And to do that without like a 7'4", you know what I mean? Without a 7'3", without a 7'2", means that your guards aren't 6'1", right? They're 6'6". They're 6'5", right? Your guards are where a lot of that average is coming from. Because as good as Boozer is down low, he's not a 7-footer. As good as Gungba is when he plays, he's not the redwood oak tree. I don't think that's a real thing. But he's not the super duper tall guy. He's 6'10", 6'11", whatever he is. So their roster is on average very, very tall, mostly because the guards are so lanky and so string beanie. So if those guys can get in and rebound, it does. It just, if you limit the opposing team's possessions and you double up on your possessions with how effective and efficient their offense is, it'll be really, really tough for Clemson to stop. And it'll tire them out, even though they're the one with more depth. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. I talked about it earlier. We're here in a giant arena, but it's actually, and we've been here for the middle of games with all the people and players working hard. They keep it pretty cool. Yeah, if you want your house to be the same way, where you can throw a party and have all 50, all 80, all 200 of your favorite people in your house, and everything keeps working well, like your heater, your cooler, your cooling system, your plumbing, your electrical, you need to call Maynard Service Company. Maynard Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. It's service you can trust. It's service I trust. It's service you should too. It's a great time to start thinking about cooling maintenance, by the way. I know we had a couple of days there where the temperature got up and made us think it was maybe time to be warm forever. Then it gets cold again. Yeah, when it's going back and forth, get the cooling maintenance started because eventually you're going to turn on your air conditioner and it's not going to turn off for a while. You're going to go through those heat spells. So give them a call, 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or visit them online, MaynardServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. We have real, bold predictions coming up next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
At some point, it gets to be too good of an offer to pass up on. And I'm just pointing out the fact that if the Jets are insistent on getting a quarterback in this draft, they have all the ammunition they would ever need. They could offer a lot of first-round draft picks, whether it's 3 first-rounders, 4 first-rounders, 5 first-rounders over the next 3 or 4 years. At some point, the Raiders have to say yes.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
If you plan on making health and wellness a priority this year, I know just the place you need to visit. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here for Atlantic Spas and Billiards, who is stacked with everything you need to bring a little more fun and excitement along with health and wellness into your home. Try it all firsthand. Learn the difference between an infrared and a traditional T-low sauna. Take a walk on their water treadmill or maybe even swim a lap or two in their endless pool swim spa right there in the showroom. Atlantic Spas and Billiards on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh today.
Hi friends, this is Mark Pons with Chapel Hill Tire. Spring is here and it's the perfect time to upgrade your ride. Right now at Chapel Hill Tire, get free installation when you purchase a set of Michelin, Pirelli, and Continental tires. That means expert installation from a team that takes pride in the work so you can drive with confidence all season long. With 13 locations across Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Carrboro, Apex, and Cary, there's always a Chapel Hill Tire close by. Schedule your appointment today at chapelhilltire.com and drive happy.
At First Carolina Bank, we pride ourselves on building relationships and doing the day-to-day things in banking extremely well. Experience the First Carolina way for yourself or your business today. Visit firstcarolinabank.com. First Carolina Bank, member FDIC.
Kick off the 2026 season with the NC Courage home opener Saturday, March 14th at 7 p.m. against Racing Louisville FC. Bring the family early for FanFest with music, games, and fun for the kids. Grab your seats today at tickets.nccourage.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
This is a drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. I'm seeing overwhelming positive reaction to the signing by the Carolina Panthers with offensive tackle Rasheed Walker from Green Bay. Many of the rankers and analysts had him as one of the top free agents in the entire class, this free agent class. Took him a while to get signed. It's just a one-year deal with the Panthers. I haven't seen a dollar figure attached to it, but at a position of need with Ike Ekwonu's injury, that's pretty darn good to pull on a Friday of free agency week.
Yeah.
And I think most are agreeing with me. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out and what that means for their draft picks and everything else. But credit to Dan Morgan. That is, if you looked at the positions of need that were the greatest importance this free agency period, I believe they likely got their number one option, their number one on their board at edge rusher. There's a good chance they got their number one option at off-ball backer. And there's a possibility they just got their number one option at left tackle.
Yeah.
I'd have to see their internal rankings to know for sure, but on ESPN's list of free agents, he was their top offensive tackle. He was the fifth best free agent in the class or overall in this year's class. So, I mean, you're getting 3-4 positions your number one option in a free agency class. That's pretty darn good. And you still have your 19th overall pick and everything else. Solid work by Dan Morgan. With that being said, we talked about the breaking news a little bit here. It's a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and fire up Real Bowl predictions. All right. This will be Max as the judge, correct?
Max is judging today.
All right. So Dennis and I are here in the Spectrum Center in Charlotte. Max Gorin is producing the show back in the studio, which means he is in control of what we call the bold enough bell and the not bold enough buzzer. We'll make predictions that we think are bold. And if we hear the bell, we're good to go. On to the next prediction. If we hear a buzzer, we have to make it bolder on the spot until we hear the bell. And we go on like that. I'll get it started. Dennis, you can jump in when you see fit.
All right.
Let's get hockey out of the way.
Let's go.
Canes at Tampa tomorrow, 7 p.m. I'm thinking the new guy, Nick Delorier, first fight as a Carolina Hurricane with the moms watching. There we go.
You think he's going to play?
I believe he was skating with the Jankowski line at practice before they traveled this morning.
Oh, let's go.
Let me make sure I confirm that with
Fight Brandon Hagel? Somewhere along those lines?
It would be. I mean, Tampa is one that makes sense for the role that he plays. So ahead of the afternoon, this is from Walt Ruff, Kane's team reporter. Ahead of an afternoon flight to Tampa with their moms, because it is mom's weekend with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Mom's trip.
Which is always cool, right? They get the suite and all the moms hang out, basically to thank parents for driving their kids around to 1 million youth rinks. And now they're in the NHL, so you get to have a cool event like this. Rod Brindamore would tell us this from Walt. Rod Brindamore would tell us not to read into today's formation. However, Nick Deslauriers's team debut could be on deck. Ooh. And in the lines that they were skating today prior to travel, it was Jankowski centering the fourth line with Robinson and Deslauriers on the wings. Kokaniemi and Carrier were the extra skaters.
Okay.
So maybe it's not that bold that he's getting his first fight, but could potentially be skating.
All right.
That would be fun. That is okay. Moving on next. Actually, do you have a Canes prediction you want to get on?
Canes prediction for tomorrow? Bowl prediction? No, I do not.
All right, cool. We'll roll towards, how about tonight's game? Duke versus Clemson, 9:30 tonight. Here's my bold prediction. I'm taking Caden Boozer, 10 or more points. Now, keep in mind, he went 0 for, I think it was 1 million from 3 yesterday. Yeah. They were giving him the Rajon Rondo treatment where, meaning Florida State was, where if he had the ball at the top of the key, they were just backing off and saying, no, but we think it's good for us if you take this shot.
Go for it.
So I guess I'll go, to make it bolder, because the buzzer was heard, 12 or more. Two things about Caden Boozer. One, he was dealing with foul trouble, which does get you into kind of a weird rhythm. Two, he did make 2 pretty big plays down the stretch in the second half. His rebound and putback ended up being the go-ahead, right? The game winner in kind of hockey terms. But also he had a and one earlier on. I think he'll learn to just attack the bucket when the shot isn't falling and using his confidence that way to build himself up. And they're probably going to need him, right? With Foster and Gumba out, he's going to have to play minutes and he's going to have to do well. You can just jump in whenever you want to. ACC championship, I think it's Duke's. Okay, not even going to get a bell or a buzzer.
Oh, that was your prediction?
Well, you got to start somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Duke wins the ACC
I thought
championship.
You're still going. Okay.
Okay. I will throw in. Let's go with. It was 32 yesterday for Isaiah Evans.
Yeah.
I'll say in the next 2 games he averages 25 or more. He loves this arena.
Yeah.
He called it home cooking after the game yesterday. I think the rims, the background, they just suit his eye. I think he is going to continue shooting the lights out, and when he does, it makes Duke very difficult to beat.
Yeah, especially if you're running basically 7 guys, 6.5 essentially. He's going to get the ball in his hands a lot more. I actually did ask him yesterday about when Caden Boozer was out about handling the ball a little bit more often, whether it's him or Hermanga. He goes, yeah, it's pretty simple. Rebound the basketball, get the ball to a guard, and just go. That's really what it was. I was like, all right, fair enough.
He gave similar, and I actually like athletes with this kind of mindset that are just kind of like, yeah, that's what we had to do. He brought up similar kind of vibes when talking at the post-game press conference. They talked about all this, who's the ball handler stuff, and he was like, we had to get it up court, so we did.
Yeah. Okay.
We've been playing basketball a while. Like we're not new to this.
I have bold prediction.
Okay, let's hear it.
Real bold prediction. For Duke basketball, Caden Boozer hits 2 3-pointers tonight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm talking about a guy who's only made 15 3-pointers all season, but you know what? I think he's going to realize that opportunity is going to be there for him today. And this is the guy that's waved off John Shire and said, I got 4 fouls. That's fine. I'm staying on the court. I actually did ask him about that after the game. We'll play that soundbite a little bit later on. But that guy knows and he told this to me when I asked him. He said, I wanted to be out there on the court because I knew it was the best thing to help my team win. It was me being out there on the court, even with 4 fouls. And I think he's recognizing as well that he's going to get the open looks from 3. And the only way Duke can really play at their best is that he has to be somewhat of a threat shooting outside. Doesn't have to be a 50% guy. Doesn't have to go like 4 of 9. Just go 2 of 5. Go 2 of 6. Just be somewhat of a threat from the outside. So, yes, 2 3-pointers from Caden Boozer.
It's also situational.
It was over 5 yesterday.
Meaning make sure you have some rebounders in position, right?
Yeah.
Make sure it's not the first good shot in the shot clock. Like, if it's within the rhythm of the offense, you have guys in position, let it fly. Like, you are a shooter, too. He has good touch around the rim. I think eventually he'll be a good shooter from distance. Next, how about we go NCAA tournament? 8, and this is where Maxitology being
all right, Maxitology
being our bell and buzzer can really give us a feel on what's bold. 8 ACC tournament or ACC teams make the NCAA tournament. That's bold.
Okay.
All right, Max, you need to turn your own microphone on, not your own microphone. Turn your microphone on and explain to us why 8 is bold.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to count in my head because I don't have it directly in front of me, but I mean, that would constitute a lack of bid sealers. SMU is the one where it's the real question. So I think it's Duke, UNC, Virginia, Clemson, Louisville, Miami, NC State, and then SMU is the one where it's really in question. And just assuming that somebody will have a bid stolen at some point, that's probably going to make it tougher for them. So, I mean, if it was a Vegas line, it would be right at 7.5 right now. So it could go either way. So I'll just give you the benefit on the bell, especially since I didn't actually have the list in front of me, so I wasn't sure.
I didn't know where I was going to go bolder because 9 makes no sense. So it was
There's no chance. No chance at 9.
I was going to have to, I don't even know. I guess I could have picked, advancing to the next round or something. Speaking of bold predictions here on the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan, we'll go UNC sees the second weekend. All right.
You say get to the Sweet 16. UNC basketball.
Yep. I mean, I had to make it bold. I don't think it's bold for them to win a game as a 5 or they're probably a 6 seed.
Yeah.
That's not bold. So I had to push it, right? I like what they have. I like Henry Vasar, and I think sometimes individuals can carry their team a game further than you think. NC State does not play in Dayton. All right. NC State wins a game in the NCAA tournament. That should let you know everything you need to know, State fan. You winning a single game in the NCAA tournament is considered bold.
Yeah. If they played like they did yesterday,
I agree.
They'll run with just about anybody.
I agree with that as well, but that was more so assuming they play their average game over the last month and a half, which has not been great.
The irony, if they play like they did in their win at the ACC tournament against Pitt, I think they're sent home early.
Mm-hmm.
If they play like they did in their loss at the ACC tournament against Virginia, I think they do see the round of 32, and who knows what happens from there. But they need to start physical, set the tone, and let all the shooters play off of that. That's the way I look at it. And then finally, last real bold prediction for you. I'll go Duke makes the Final Four. And tells you everything you need to know, Duke fans. Making the Final Four, not bold.
No.
Duke makes the championship. Okay. There's the line right there. It's somewhere between Final Four and final for Duke as far as being bold. That shows how talented they are, right? You're just assuming they're going to win their region. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to Max back there playing the bell and buzzer for some real bold predictions for us from right here inside the Spectrum Center, the location for the ACC tournament. With it being nearly 5 o'clock, that means it is nearly time for the starting 5. Stick around.
Do you have a smartphone? Of course you do. Do you have a pocket or pouch or human hand to hold your smartphone? Then you have no excuse. Download the 99.9 The Fan brand new app today and take us with you wherever you go. Your favorite hosts, podcasts, and live sports action all in one place. Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Finally, there's an app for 99.9 The Fan. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today. Powered by Aspire Money Management.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
With the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries?
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's Bo time.
There's Bo time, and then there's Bojangler time. You heard right. The Bojangler fish fillet sandwich is back for limited time at participating Bojangles. A light, flaky, perfectly seasoned fish fillet with lettuce, cheese, and tartar sauce tucked inside a bun. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $200 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.49 to 4.37. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or price stopped. Opt out.
Hey man, how did the date go?
I had to cancel. I don't get paid until Friday.
You didn't know that you can get up to a $750 paycheck advance with the current app?
Where was that information yesterday?
Just text them. See if you qualify. $750? Boom. And right now, they're offering a $75 bonus when you set up an eligible direct deposit.
Think I should call her back?
Yeah.
Need money before payday? Current has you covered. Set up an eligible direct deposit to see if you qualify for a paycheck advance of up to $750. Hurry and receive an extra $75 sign-up bonus right now. Text BETTER to 323232. That's BETTER to 323232. BETTER to 323232.
Paycheck advance is offered by FineCo Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com/radio or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Hard to believe some of you still don't understand how much more fun you can have watching sports with FanDuel. And right now, new FanDuel customers can get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days if your bet loses. Hey, I can lose bets. I might even be able to help. Here's how it works. Place a tournament bet using the token, and if it doesn't win, you'll get up to $300 back in bonus bets every single day for 10 straight days. 10 chances to play the game and maybe even use their money. FanDuel.com/local, FanDuel.com/local. 21 and over and present in North Carolina must apply select token each day. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Tokens are received in increments of 1 per day. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. Grab a jacket for your Friday night plans. Temperatures quickly dip into the 50s and 43 is our low tonight. Saturday, 70 degrees for the high, partly cloudy and dry. By Sunday, some rain could return, especially during the evening.
5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones closes down 119 points at 46,558. Market update brought to you by the UNC Chapel Hill University Development Office. Give UNC is back Tuesday, March 24th. Get ready to leave your mark at giveunc.unc.edu.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. We are live, as we have been all day today, and we will continue to be until 6:30. We will be going a little bit longer here on 99.9 The Fan because we're in Charlotte. We're in the Spectrum Center where the ACC men's basketball tournament has been going on and will continue to go on tonight. So going till 6:30. Our show being live till 6:30 takes you right up until the national coverage of the games that are going to be played right in front of us begins. So we'll pass you right off to the pregame show for which will be Miami and Virginia at 7 o'clock. That's 7 o'clock tip, followed by Duke and Clemson on the late night game. That'll be about 9:30, give or take, depending on the early game. So that's a little housekeeping here. That doesn't change anything about what happens at 5 o'clock, though. At 5 o'clock on The Drive with Tim Donnelly, we get to the starting five, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So if you were listening earlier, we had a real perfect timing situation. We did a full segment, something like 10 minutes. I don't know how long it was, about how worried I was about the Carolina Panthers left tackle situation. And it felt as if they were going to wait and try to solve it in the draft, potentially with the 19th overall pick, their first rounder. And I talked about how that made me worried and how, you better have 6 or 7 players that you love at the position to just trust that one of them will be there at 19. And then as we were wrapping up that segment, news broke that the Carolina Panthers had solved all of my worries. They let me worry for 10 minutes, and then Dan Morgan said, all right, let's put him out of his worrying misery. They signed, or reached an agreement today, I should say, according to Adam Schefter, with Packers left tackle, former Packers left tackle, Rasheed Walker. Now, I have a bit more information I can pass on to you about that situation. But regardless of the info we have about Rasheed Walker, he is a left tackle that filled what could be seen as the last, maybe not the last hole in the Panthers roster, but the last crater in the Panthers roster. They still have some things they need to do, but now you can go into the draft knowing, if there's a player at a different position that is true best player available, you can take that player. You don't have to be as desperate to fill a need as you would have been if you didn't have Rasheed Walker at left tackle. I think they would have been forced to take a left tackle early. But the additional information I can pass on to you. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN tweets in response to the agreement reached by Rasheed Walker, offensive tackle, and the Panthers. Fowler says, "This was one of the more interesting markets for a player. He was clearly the best free agent option at a premium position. But a few teams wondered whether Dan Moore's deal last year," that's a free agent tackle that signed last season, which was $82 million over 4 years, spooked teams, hurting the market more than it helped. So in that tweet from Jeremy Fowler, a few interesting pieces of information. One, he calls Walker clearly the best free agent option at the left tackle position. That's high praise. 2, 4 years, $82 million spooked some people, is kind of what Fowler's guessing there.
That's a lot of money.
It is, but I can tell you what the agreement is worth for Walker. 1 year max value of $10 million.
Okay. Now, like a 1 year prove it deal.
When the insiders start saying max, that usually means that ain't the base, right? There's either incentives or roster bonuses or snap minimums that need to be reached for you to reach $10 million. We don't know what those contingencies are, but when you start your conversation, as Jeremy Fowler did, saying 4 years, $82 million may have spooked some people, you're looking at a player who is of the level of someone else that's getting $20 million plus per year, and you get him for 1 year up to 10. That's good business, right? If I could buy 4 quarters or 2 quarters, that's good business. And that's essentially what they're doing for a year. Now, maybe they've set themselves up to where next offseason is going to have to be expensive. But you cross that bridge when you get there, right? If he plays great, if he plays Pro Bowl level tackle, you're not going to be bummed like, oh, now we got to pay our guy. You're actually just going to kind of be jacked up that you have a Pro Bowl level left tackle, and you're gonna be excited about that. So, I mean, I almost don't want to say this out loud at the risk of jinxing it, but I'm not superstitious, so I will. I feel like me and Dan Morgan are seeing the field very similarly.
Yeah,
I feel like we are in mind meld right now. So I'm just going to try to ride that wave and start predicting draft picks and things and see if we can't keep the hot streak going.
He's cooking right now.
Rasheed Walker to Carolina, according to Jeremy Fowler, 1-year deal worth a max of $10 million.
And for Walker, if he the quote unquote prove it deal,
that is definitely
if he has
deal.
a stellar season, he's still only going to be 27 years old, and he can get that 4-year, $20+ million a year contract, whether it be with the Panthers or someone else, because he'll still have those prime years ahead of him. Like, this is a win-win on both sides. Like, hey, come out, ball out for a year for us, go get your money after this year, and at the same time, we get you balling out and playing at your best.
And then
win-win.
The Panthers were in a unique situation in that they might only need a left tackle for 1 year. If they really like Ike Ekwonu and he's healthy by the end of this year, they might not need a guy the following year. So getting a 1-year prove-it deal could work out best for everyone. Could be a real, cold-blooded business decision. Like, hey, we'll sign you to a 1 year, then we'll part ways, right? We'll shake hands and bounce because we don't need you beyond 1 year and you want to get paid after 1 year. Let's help each other out here, scratch each other's back.
By the way, real quick, because I know this is going to transition us into our next topic. We were talking about left tackle earlier in the show, and then that news broke. And Tim Griffin on our YouTube live chat said, nice work speaking that into existence. Please talk about a Hurricane Stanley Cup next.
All right. You know what? That's number 5 in the starting 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4 all together.
Jankowski back and forth, and he scores! That's going to be on the highlight package tonight. Oh, Mark Jankowski, upper deck in Carolina, takes a 1-0 lead.
I was so excited to talk, I jumped the gun. That wasn't the highlight package. That might be the only highlight in the highlight package from the Canes' loss to the St. Louis Blues. But to help out with our commenter, losing to St. Louis on February 12th does nothing to make me think they're any less likely to win the Stanley Cup. For more breakdown of that game yesterday, here's our very own Adam Gold with something we call 2 minutes of gold.
Stand my ground, and I won't back down.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 saves that kept Carolina from getting 2 points against the St. Louis Blues last night. And it's all brought to us by Parkway Sleep Health Centers, parkwaysleep.com. Carolina dominated the first period. It might have been the best first period of the entire season. Had the puck in St. Louis's end the entire time. Tons of pressure on St. Louis's defense and their goalie, Jordan Binnington. Unfortunately, just the 1 goal. Hey, it was a worldie by Mark Jankowski, but that's all they got. Because right after that, Logan Stankoven should have scored.
Blake with room across Stankoven, and another brilliant save from Jordan Binnington.
This reminds me of the save Busty made on Martin Luther King Day on Tage Thompson. Everybody thought it was in.
Post Binnington's pad, and it just stuck there. How does that not end up in the back of the net? Do not know. That was indicative of the rest of the night. Carolina, shorthanded. Best chance the rest of the way right here.
And here comes Jarvis. He's got Aho with him, but Jarvis with the lane. Jarvis, Aho, shoots, and another massive save by Binnington. This one shorthanded to keep us tied at 1.
Of course, Jarvis and Aho are going to combine on the shorthanded chance. Still, don't know how Sebastian didn't score and make Carolina a 1-goal leader at the time. It would have put Carolina in front. Unfortunately, it was Jimmy Snuggerud's second goal that did in Carolina, then the empty netter, and it's a 3-1 loss. They played well enough. They didn't play great in the second and third periods, but they played well enough where that should have been a win. The other goalie really stole 2 points from Carolina. Parkway Sleep Health Center. Sound sleep. Sound off. I hate the other team's goalies.
Thank you very much to Adam Gold for 2 minutes of gold. And just to continue speaking it into existence, in response to our commenter earlier, Canes are going to win the Stanley Cup this year. They're going to win it.
Yep.
They're going to win it in 4. How about that? Clean sweep. Eat that, Colorado, likely. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We continue with the starting 5, moving on to number 3.
90 seconds, 8-point lead for UVA.
Williams to a cutting Copeland. He finishes through a foul.
So, NC State, their ACC tournament run came to a close yesterday with a loss to Virginia. Their NCAA tournament run, not 100% locked in, but likely on the way for State, means there's still work to be done, right? The ACC tournament, with the acknowledgement that they came in with a minimum of they have to win one game or else perhaps end up on the wrong side of that NCAA tournament bubble, and they did that. But the hope being that they could have won multiple games and really advanced their situation and their standing nationally, and they were unable to do that. So acknowledging like the base levels of success or failure for that team, it was a pass, but barely. I still think they made progress, right? I still think they made progress in their two games here, and we watched them both. Against Pitt, while they came away with the win, I think there was some toughness issues early. I don't think that their offense was in rhythm at all. I think there was stagnant, there was herky-jerky, there was forcing it. And then against Virginia, granted a much better team, I thought they played better even in the game came away with a loss.
I thought they played well. I thought they played really well yesterday.
So, as you are trying to, as every team is, trying to peak, well, first of all, you got to punch your ticket to the dance, then trying to peak going into the dance. Their last two games, for the first time in a while, are kind of pointing in the right direction, right? From a game that maybe wasn't great to a game that was better. Let's hear from Will Wade on the game being close. And actually, speaking of progress, they did play Virginia twice in the regular season and got smoked both times. And after the Pitt game, he was saying we just have to play better and try to make a game out of it and all of these things. After they did make a game of it against UVA, he was asked if being close reflected the growth of his team.
Well, we played him the second time we played him was a couple weeks ago. Seemed like a month ago. I mean, look, we're not into moral victories. I mean, look, you either get the job done or you don't, and we didn't get the job done today. The reality is we should have played more like this the first two games, and we didn't, and that's why we were in. That's why we're in this. That's why we were in this position. That's why we were the 7th seed. So I mean, that's the reality of it, and we didn't get the job done today. And we shouldn't have gotten beat like we did the first two times either.
Now, I had this reaction. So much of NC State and then their ceiling and floors and everything go back to 2 years ago, the magical run they went on and made it all the way to the Final Four. Mm-hmm. One of my reactions to that run was that everything clicked at the last possible second. We were sitting at the ACC tournament watching the game. They were down 12 in the first half to Louisville. I believe it was a Tuesday. And it clicked.
Yep.
And obviously they went on a run and didn't lose again until the Final Four, which is a very impressive run. Wildly impressive. Right now is the last time it could possibly click for this year's team, right? Now the buzzer, 3, 2, if it doesn't get everything locked in, it won't, right? You don't get another opportunity after the NCAA tournament. So here's the way I would say it. I think it's a hierarchy thing. I think due to NIL, due to preseason hype, they almost by default still go to Darian Williams first in many situations. And I think he's better served playing off of others, right? When he lets the offense get going and then he plays off of the attention elsewhere, he can knock down shots, he can knock down threes, he can be a secondary creator. I think they have to go to Ben Allen Lubin in the post early and often to set the tone, draw fouls, land the first couple body shots of the boxing match, and then they can go to some of the more finesse stuff they have on other parts of the roster. And if they don't make that switch now, there's no more time, right? There's no more. And I think the last two games was a good example of that. Darian Williams was a big part of the first handful of possessions against Pitt. Didn't work out that well. Had to call a timeout early to stem the bleeding. On the flip side, he was a massive part of meaning Ben Allen Lubin was a massive part of the first 5 possessions against Virginia, and it set the tone. we'll see if they're able to connect all of those dots and many more. That's just the one I see in time for the NCAA tournament. That's number 3. How about number 2?
Just the two of us. Trimble will kick it out for Vessar. Got it! A three-pointer on the money with 12 seconds to play.
UNC lost to Clemson last night, 80-79. Frustration is obvious amongst Tar Heel fans. And I would second a lot of the frustration. And we're going to get to some of the bigger state of the program stuff at about 5:30 here on the show.
Yep.
So the Hubert Davis conversation, some of the problems that have popped up, year over year over year, which are the ones that appear systemic. We're going to talk about that at about 5:30. For right now, I'm focused on the basketball. It was not all bad X's and O's wise for Carolina. Vasar was very good.
It was fantastic yesterday.
They did get efficient Dixon, right? Sometimes you get wildly inefficient Derek Dixon, 2 for 10 Derek Dixon, 1 for 7 from 3 Derek Dixon. He made some shots and looked fairly, I don't want to say comfortable, but his athleticism shone through a little bit more. I thought he was attacking rebounds a bit better. So there were some good things. The bench, to me, is where this game was won by Clemson. And I've mentioned Clemson's depth a bunch this show, and it's because it stood out and watching them in a couple games this week already. But UNC, I used the same statistics that I used earlier, but I think it tells the picture, or shows the picture. Every player in their starting lineup, meaning UNC's, had a positive plus-minus, meaning when they were on the floor, UNC scored more than Clemson did. Every player coming off the bench had a minus plus-minus, meaning Clemson scored more when they were on the floor than Carolina did. And that is true, like 1 through 5 in the starting lineup, and I believe they played 4 guys off the bench. 1 through 4 off the bench were all negative. The bench was outscored 29-5 just in points scored by Clemson's bench. So, part of me thinks that's kind of unacceptable for Carolina.
Oh, very much so.
The recruiting advantage you have, the NIL advantage you have, the willingness for players to stick around that you have, that you just don't see at a lot of programs. There's only a handful, I think, of in the country that I would accept maybe not having the better bench when compared to if I'm Carolina. So you could say, yeah, like Caleb Wilson did this, Caleb Wilson did that, and he's missed. I hear you. But the starters did their thing, right? The starters had played it well enough to win and be here in the semifinals tonight. It was, probably unrealistic to think those 5 would never need a breather. And when they did, or when they got in foul trouble, or when they needed to have a conversation with the assistant coach, it was the next unit that ended up being the difference. And Clemson was obviously much more comfortable with their bench unit. And that's something we'll have to address. Because guess what? If you're going to make a run in the Final Four, it's not going to be with 5 guys. Or in the NCAA tournament, it's not going to be with 5 guys. You're going to need some depth. And Caleb Wilson is not walking through those doors without a cast on or without a wrap on his hand. He'll walk through. He's a heavy presence for UNC, but he's not going to be playing for UNC. That's number 2. How about number 1?
The 1! 5 seconds to go. Florida State trying to win it right here. And it's over. Duke survives it. 80-79.
That's what it sounded like at the end of the game. Oh. Duke held on to beat Florida State by uno.
What a game.
80-79. It was a really good game. It was back and forth. I think it ended up being 16 lead changes. Duke trailed by as many as 8 in the second half and had to come back and put some distance between them and Florida State. And then Florida State came back. It was a really fun game to watch. Listen, we're going to turn the page, and later on this hour, we'll talk about Duke Clemson tonight, because that's the nature of the ACC tournament, right? Every day there's no 24-hour celebration rule. It might be the 24-minute celebration rule. You got to get on to the next. But there is something to be said for Florida State might just be a bad matchup for Duke.
Could be.
Right? We talk about, they didn't have Caleb Foster. They didn't have Gongba. This point guard didn't shoot well. This happened. Listen, when Florida State was at their lowest, right? When they were losing 6 out of 7 to start the ACC, they were ranked outside, I believe, the top 120 in the net rankings. They played Duke ridiculously well. They beat or lost to Duke, 91-87 back on January 3rd. And then yesterday they lost 80-79. So in their 2 games versus Duke, they scored 87 and 79 points. Duke on average allows 62.5. Florida State averages in the 80s in their 2 games against Duke.
Yeah.
Duke averages just 62.5 points allowed. And that's when Florida State is playing well. Right now, they were, in rhythm as well as they had been at any point in time this season.
Yeah, they won 10-12 going into last night's game.
And also, when they were playing as bad as they played all year, in the middle of a 5-game losing streak to start the ACC, they scored against Duke in both scenarios. And throughout sports, there are those matchups, right? Where it's like, I know they're not very good, but they're going to give us a hard game because they always do, right? And it doesn't have to be the rivalry. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could just be like, hey, the go-to moves for those 2 guards, turns out we're not good at defending them. Like, turns out, they our eye doesn't match up with it, right? It's, almost golf-like. Like, hey, this course just lines up with my eye. I see it well, and I play it much better than I do in other places. Give some credit to Florida State. I think they developed their team in a way this year that shows they hired the right guy in Luke Laux, and a lot of people were skeptical of that hire. I think he did a really, really good job this year. So, did Duke, quote unquote, allow a borderline top 70 team by most metrics, and the 8th seed in the ACC tournament nearly upset them? Yeah, but I think the more you look into it, the more you see, well, Florida State's not really top 70, right? They're probably top 50, and Duke didn't play as well as they possibly could, especially outside of 2 guys that played very well in Evans and Cam Boozer. So they participated in the close game. Florida State participated in the close game, and that's how a 16.5-point favorite ends up winning by 1 and being taken to the buzzer.
A lot of the Duke guys, I know Cam Boozer said it. I know post-game, I think it was even Caden, Isaiah Evans talking to those guys all post-game. They said, look, I know where they are in the standings, but if you look since January, they're a top 25 team. Like, since January, that Florida State's been a top 25 team since January. And they've been outstanding. Again, you don't lose just 10 of 12, or sorry, you win 10 of 12 on accident. You beat some teams that are going to the NCAA tournament along the way. So, yeah, Florida State's been playing great. And kudos for Duke, shorthanded. First time playing shorthanded. It's different than what Carolina. We're going to talk about Carolina in a couple minutes, but this is the first time that they actually had to go into a game where it's like, all right, we know we're without Pat. We know we're without Caleb. Yeah, you had about 30 minutes or so in the heat of a situation against UNC this past Saturday, but now you actually had to go, all right, when this happens, this is what we do. This is how my role is going to change. So kudos to them for finding a way to win. I think they will be better today having experienced yesterday.
And one thing I will say is they, meaning Duke, they have to learn without Gongba and Foster how to turn the toughness up earlier. A lot of times veterans are the ones that bring that, right? And Foster is a veteran. He's been at Duke for 3 years now. Gongba is a veteran. He's been there for 2 years. How many times did we say, sitting watching the game, there's 4 freshmen and a sophomore? And that sophomore barely played if it was Darren Harris.
Yeah, exactly. They got 3 freshmen and 2 sophomores now.
They were using groups of 5 that they hadn't used but a couple minutes all season. And then, right, we talked with John Shire spoke at the press conference after the game about, toughness was an issue until they went on that 19-2 run and kind of locked in a bit. I wonder if those 2 guys were on the floor, if one of them would have set the tone with some toughness earlier. So they have to find, a tone setter elsewhere outside of those 2 guys because, they were on scooters. We saw them scooting around, right? They were on boots and scoots, walking boots and scooters, keeping weight off of their lower extremities. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will come back and talk more Duke looking forward, right? That was mostly Duke looking at FSU yesterday. They play Clemson tonight at 9:30. That'll end at this hour. We have UNC talking big picture issues for UNC before that. And even before that, we have Dennis Cox with some information for you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick. My good friends over at Law Tigers. It's the season of winning right now, I like to say. Teams are winning their respective, they got tournaments and games and all that kind of stuff going on. But I want you to win. And you can win if you go to caniacsbike.com, because the Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. Simple to enter. You go to caniacsbike.com. Caniacsbike.com. You'll see pictures of the bike. If you want to see it in person, swing by Art Moto Garage. They're located right there in Raleigh. Check it out this weekend. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. See that custom V4 Ducati motorcycle with your own eyes. And just like me, I guarantee you're going to fall in love with it. Go to caniacsbike.com. Enter for your chance to win. The bike will be given away April 4th, live on the ice at the game. And it includes tickets to a catered suite. But the deadline to enter, basically 2 weeks away, folks. March 29th is your date to enter. So quit waiting around. Go to caniacsbike.com. Enter for your chance to win. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, Carolina lost yesterday to Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just a loss, or is that a sign of bigger issues? Stick around.
It's bracket time, baby. Get in on the madness with a Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge from 99.9 The Fan. Fill out your picks, and with a perfect bracket, you could score the $1 million national grand prize. That's right, $1 million. Dominate the local leaderboard and pocket $500 for being the best in the triangle. Presented by the Powerhouse Pros at North Carolina Courage. Register now at 999thefan.com and let the madness begin.
To 15-year-old Harper, buying an $80 vintage rock t-shirt is a great investment. To Harper's mom, this logic has a few holes in it. So she helped Harper open a Wells Fargo Clear Access banking account. With no overdraft fees and tools to track spending, Harper's learning, one heavy metal tee at a time. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Terms apply. Visit wellsfargo.com/deposit disclosures for fees and details.
If you're exhausted, not just tired, but worn down, this message is for you. I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Across North Carolina, many people wait months, sometimes over a year, just to start sleep care. That wait isn't normal, and it isn't necessary. At Parkway, most patients are seen within weeks, with virtual consultations and home sleep studies that remove unnecessary delays. Sleep care shouldn't have to depend on how long you're willing to wait.
Parkway Sleep, your fastest path to better sleep. Start today at parkwaysleep.com. Sound sleep, sound health.
Everybody in your crew identifies as either Big Mac Burger, McNuggets, or McCrispy Sandwich. But you're the Filet-O-Fish Sandwich all day. That crispy fish, that savory tartar sauce, that melty cheese, that pillowy bun. Yeah, you get it. Every time.
Now, enjoy a Filet-O-Fish and a 10-piece McNuggets. Mix and match any two for just $6 at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary. Single item at regular price cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Hey friends, Paul Weihander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. And right now, new FanDuel customers can get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days if your bet loses. Here's how it works. Place a tournament bet using the token. If it doesn't win, you'll get up to $300 back in bonus bets every single day for 10 straight days. That's 10 chances to play all tourney long, from game props and money lines to spreads, totals, futures, and more. You can mix things up with same-game parlays for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to fill out your bracket, FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the action day after day. So visit FanDuel.com/Paul. Paul with a capital P, and sign up today. FanDuel, it's time to dance. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. Must apply select token each day. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Tokens are received in increments of 1 per day. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I can tell you we are now an hour and a half away from the action on the court in front of us becoming real.
Hour away from coverage starting, by the way.
Hour away from coverage starting. Of course, we're talking about the semifinals of the ACC men's basketball tournament. Miami, Virginia, out on the court getting warmed up. I talk about this all the time. Nothing like the energy inside a building at live sports, especially if you can get there early. My grandpa used to always get there for like the warm-ups to the warm-ups. And you would just watch, and the energy rises and rises, and you can feel it. And then by the time the game comes, it's electric. And there's been a great environment here in the Spectrum Center the entirety of the week. Thursday at 11:30 a.m. everybody was locked in and ready for the state game, and big shots were met with big crowd eruptions throughout the entirety. So I don't have to tell anybody, North Carolina's a big college basketball state. Speaking of, if you're big into the college basketball world, get in on the madness with the Fans Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge. Fill out your brackets, and if you beat the odds with a perfect bracket, you will score the $1 million national grand prize. You could win $1 million. Or if you don't quite get the perfect bracket, but you still dominate our local leaderboard, you can pocket $500 for being the best in the triangle. The Fans Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge is presented by North Carolina Courage. So take your shot and register now at 999thefan.com. You can pre-register now at 999thefan.com. Just make sure you head back and fill out your bracket once the brackets are released. Now, we talked about the two teams that are going to be playing at 7 o'clock. Virginia in front of us, Miami on the other end getting warmed up. UNC will not be playing today. They would have been playing in the late game against Duke. Would have been a really fun third matchup between those two teams. A rubber match, if you will. But we're not going to get that. And part of the reason is the Tar Heels do have a reason for this year not to go as planned. The question is that reason enough to ignore some trends? Okay? You will never hear me disparage a team who doesn't look as good as they possibly could with their best player hurt. That's illogical to me. You take the best player off of any college basketball team, their ceiling will lower. They will not look as good as they potentially could have. However, isn't there kind of always something?
Yeah.
Right? And you're not going to overcome every hardship that you deal with, but you got to overcome some of them, right? You have to be mentally tough enough to overcome some of them. It's why every coach and every player has been conditioned when injuries happen to say, almost against their will, next man up.
Yeah.
Right? They're at a post-game presser. They go, next man up. And then they catch themselves and go, oh, we love him. We miss him. He's a really good player. But their reptilian brain goes into, when somebody gets hurt, we will keep playing. We will have somebody else do those. You play that role, right? You have to be mentally tough enough to do that. The way I always say it is back when I played college football, the term Riverside meant turn around and do the drill in the other direction.
Okay.
And one of our best friends, right? Somebody that we've known for 2-3 years, roomed in the dorms with, one of our best friends could blow out their knee, be laying in the ground screaming in agony, trainers running over there, and the coaches would go, Riverside, and we would just turn around and keep doing the drill in the other direction because he was laying on the ground there. And looking back, that is heinous and cruel, right? Why would we not go give him words of encouragement, take a knee next to him, whatever it is? But you become so numb to it and so next man up. You don't want to use that as an excuse ever, right? We still need to have a good practice here, everybody. We'll talk to him afterwards. We'll see what's going on. The trainers will let us know. But
still got to play.
But hey, on this next one, make sure your feet are a little bit quicker when you're moving left.
Yeah,
it's that kind of deal. So I hear Carolina saying it would have been different with Caleb Wilson. I also think there's a bigger thing at play here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, And I'm going to play some audio for you here from Hubert Davis. So Hubert Davis, after the game, I'm going to give you the full rundown here so we have the background. Henry Vasar spoke to the media first at the podium. And he talked about their comeback from down 18 that they almost pulled off. And he said once they were down 18, they started playing desperate. And he pointed out that they play well when they play desperate. So then when the players are done talking and it's time to ask the coach questions, I asked Hubert Davis, if you play well desperate, can you manufacture that? Can you find a way to create desperation or at least simulate it for your team in the first half when you get to March so you don't have to wait till you're in a hole? And this is Hubert Davis's answer.
Yes. Specifically, I talked to the team. What is today? Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today. About having that hunger and that thirst. That hunger and that thirst to compete, the hunger and thirst to prepare, to practice, hunger and thirst to play together as a team and as a group as long as we can. And so we've talked about that at great length.
So that was his response. And there was actually a long pause prior to him saying yes, and then a long pause after saying yes.
Yeah.
To the point where, as the person asked the question, I was like, what are we doing here? Max just said in my ears that he actually cut some time out of the pause. It was lengthy. The term hunger and thirst.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got back to the hotel last night. It was late, but I was prepping for today's show, and I wanted to see if I could find the exact quote. So I typed into Google Hubert Davis, and I remembered hunger and thirst. So there's Hubert Davis, hunger and thirst. And this is where the kind of, is this a symptom of a bigger problem developed? Like October 2022, he used the term hunger and thirst. 2024, he used the term hunger and thirst. Later in that same season, 2024, he used the term hunger and thirst. And so there's all of these articles written by WRAL or the News and Observer or a blog where the headline is some form of Hubert Davis used the term hunger and thirst. So I'm like, that's kind of interesting, right? He's got a little catchphrase. Let me click on it.
Yeah.
And all of the articles a little bit different, but had something to do with either, we're finally playing with a hunger and thirst, or we need to play with a hunger and thirst. We have to get the veterans together and work on getting this team to play with a hunger and thirst. And I went, 2022, 2024, now 2026, there was 2025. At a certain point, like, what's the saying? You are what you repeatedly do. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a cultural problem, I guess, if you routinely are putting together ACC, University of North Carolina Tar Heel basketball programs that aren't baked into their DNA with scratching and clawing and playing with hunger and thirst and all of the things that, I don't think you had to teach Tyler Hansbrough how to play with a hunger and a thirst. I don't think you had to wait around till the team in 2016 figured out that a hunger and thirst was necessary, right? Like you have examples of recruiting the right people that have the right attitude, the right mix of personalities. And if you repeatedly don't have that, it becomes a bigger issue. And then we hear from the players, this is where like it all comes together. Dennis tells me, right, as we're prepping, hey, I talked with Seth Trimble, and he was questioning over the last two games the toughness of Carolina. So here's Seth Trimble on them for the second straight game not being the tougher team.
We went the tougher team tonight. And that was, kind of the same thing for the second game in a row. We had some good streaks throughout the game of good basketball, but when you're not the tougher team consistently throughout the game, it's going to be hard to win.
Think about that. Mm-hmm. Okay, the last two games, he said, last two games, we have not been the tougher team. What was the game before yesterday?
At Duke.
At Duke.
Yep.
What was yesterday? It was a winner-go-home ACC tournament game.
Yep.
If in those games...
Against a team you played just before you played Duke, by the way.
If in those games it's so obvious that you notice it and are saying it in a post game that you were the less tough team. There's something there that needs to be fixed, and it's been there now for a while.
You and I were sitting exactly where we are right now here courtside of the ACC tournament. And I remember you and I yesterday, we were talking about the game when Carolina won, especially when they got down 18. I said, this team lacks toughness. They lack toughness. And then when I heard Seth Trimble say that in the locker room, I was like, I'm not the only one that sees it. If they're saying it, everyone else is probably seeing it, or at least a lot of other people as well. And I actually asked Seth Trimble, and here's the soundbite for it. I asked him, following up, he said, when we didn't have toughness, I said, how do you find toughness as a team?
Yeah, within yourself, man. Just playing with pride, playing for a reason, and just playing for your teammates. I'm not saying we don't do that, because we definitely do, but I don't know. It's been 2 games in a row where the other team has found it more than us, and it's been a bad result for us. So
it ties into one person.
It's crazy that in those 2 games you would be, and I would even add with Caleb Wilson out, because if I'm replacing Caleb Wilson, or if I'm playing some of the minutes, or if I'm getting an opportunity because Caleb Wilson is out, right? Like Kyan Evans seems to be playing a little bit more, whatever it is, I will acknowledge I can't be 6'10". I can't jump to the top of the square, right?
Yeah, I can't do that fade away from the baseline.
I can't do those things. But I would be darned if I'm not out there laying it all on the line to like that's the one thing that I can bring, right? Like if I get this opportunity, I'm going to scratch and claw with all my might to take advantage of it. And I don't think they've done that. And it's why I think Carolina fans, whether they're saying it publicly or not, a lot are saying it publicly, are looking at Hubert Davis with is a fresh voice needed. And I'm like, great dude. I think he's a good basketball mind. Fresh voice doesn't mean you don't like the current voice, right? It just means there might be something that's not fully clicking. And I understand that. Now, I would always follow that up with, if you're going to move on from somebody, you need to make sure you have a better option waiting, right? You don't move on to somebody unless you think you can do better. And I don't think it was that long ago people would have wanted Wes Miller, who has a history with UNC and was the coach at Cincinnati. I say was because after 5 seasons, earlier today, it was revealed that they fired Wes Miller.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So, there's Carolina would have options, but, there's a fear of moving into the unknown in those situations.
But even in the here and now,
Here, hold on, and I'll give you your second, but I want to point this out. Last 5 years, NCAA tournament 8 seed, 8 seed, missed the tournament, 1 seed, 11 seed, 6 seed,
11 seed playing in Dayton, by the way.
11 seed on the play-in, did win Dayton, so they advanced, and then I'm giving them a 6 seed ish for this year.
Yeah,
you are what your record says you are. So now we have examples of toughness being an issue, maybe culture or personality fits and want to. You also have records that, Carolina is too good of a program to go 8, missed. You do mix in the 1 seed, congrats. 11 seed in the play-in, and now whatever it ends up being this year, a 6 seed. Personal pride and say we're better than that. And if this guy isn't getting it there, you got to explore why and either fix those problems or find someone that will.
In the here and now, we hear Seth Trimble again talking about the last couple games. Again, on the road at your rival. Even though you weren't playing, you didn't have your best player, which, by the way, you haven't been playing with him anyway. It's not like you just lost him before the Duke game. You just found out you weren't going to have him for longer before the Duke game. That's all it was. You've already been playing without him. And even with that game, that situation on the road against your rival, and then here in the ACC tournament, when you say, we didn't have the toughness, that comes straight to the top. That's where it goes. Straight to the top to the head coach. And you've laid out all the times where you've heard that, the heart, the thirst, all that kind of stuff. For years, we've been hearing this. How many times over the last several years have we seen a UNC team fall behind big time, and then, oh, look, they scratched and clawed their way back to make it close at the end. Sometimes they may come back and won, but hey, man, they made it close. That's not good enough. You're not going to sustain that long term. This UNC team, by their standards, has not lived up to their standards. They've only won 3 ACC tournaments this century. I'm sorry, that ain't good enough for Carolina. I mean, gosh, they won back-to-back in 07 and 08, and they've won one since. It was 2016.
And part of me wants to see the overcorrection.
Yeah.
Where, right, if you go 2 or 3 years with a team that isn't scrapping hard enough, the next year I almost want nothing. I want a recruiting class full of guys that were dual sport athletes in high school, and it was basketball and boxing. Like you need to go overcorrect. Because making the same mistake over and over again, or getting the same cultural DNA of your locker room over and over again, and that being an issue over and over again, it's like, the definition of insanity that people always say, right? You do the same things expecting different results. It's just crazy.
We'll talk about. I know we got to talk about Duke here in a sec, but speaking of Duke, look at Duke's roster 2 years ago that lacked toughness, and look at what they are right now. That's a team that is gritty and tough, and then even in a tough situation, showed the toughness. When John Shire challenged them down 58-51 in the second half to be tougher, how'd they respond?
And I've said many times that I think that's one of the most impressive things that John Shire has done in his very young career as a head coach is his first couple of teams. I think he got I'm guessing, I'm inferring, he became a bit obsessed with getting the best players at every position.
Yeah.
Right? Just that the most talent, small forward, most talent, power forward.
He was getting them.
And he was getting them.
Yeah.
But what was happening was he was getting them there, and there was no complete picture of a locker room personality. In recent years, I think he's done a much better job of going, is this the most talented, or is this the most talented person that brings something personality-wise that we need in our locker, or in our locker room? And quite frankly, they've been better teams since he started doing that. And there might need to be, they never will say it, but there might need to be some copycat action across the triangle. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. You mentioned we need to talk about Duke. We will, with audio from John Shire after the game yesterday, and the challenges they'll face tonight against Clemson. Stick around.
Listen for the Get That Out of Here's.
Rejection! Cameron Boozer got a piece! Get that out of there!
The deep looks from downtown.
Arsenault, pull up three, top of the arc. Buries it!
They got postered.
Shot is up, missed, hammer time! Put back jam by Lubin!
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9. The Fan, driven by Fast Park and Relax, Chapel Hill Tire and Roof Works.
Amy Cox did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. And with that money, she decided to treat herself to an anti-aging red light mask. Will she look like a horror movie villain every night? Yes. Will her boyfriend Kevin be scarred for life? That's certainly a risk. But it's Amy's savings, and if she's willing to risk her relationship for smooth, wrinkle-free skin, well, bye-bye, Kevin. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
What does it mean to win this award to you?
It means a lot to me, just being recognized for all my hard work on and off the court.
The Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month from 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union. To nominate your athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Canes hockey is back. Grab an ice cold Surfside to enjoy while you cheer on your Canes. Only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles, so easy to sip and enjoy. It's not a seltzer, it's Surfside. Official hard tea and lemonade of the Carolina Hurricanes. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Life's great stories are built on yes and. Yes to the big game and the private suite. Yes to the beach and sailing offshore. Yes to traveling the country and exploring new ones. With the new Millionaire for Life from the North Carolina Education Lottery, you can say yes to $1 million now and every year for a lifetime. Millionaire for Life. Winning is just the beginning. Drawing 7 days a week. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 8.47. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here with Dennis Cox, and normally we'd be nearing the end of the show, but not today.
No, not today.
Because we're taking you all the way up till 6:30, which is when we'll pass things off to the broadcast for the ACC Men's Basketball Tournament semifinals, which will be played immediately in front of us. We are here in the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, where we have been for the entirety of the game. And the late game tonight here in Charlotte will be Duke Clemson 9:30, and the story for Duke is really two-part, right? There's the Cam Boozer, Isaiah Evans, their quest to be the best players on a ACC tournament championship team, and the supporting cast that there is. And then there's how do they handle not having Caleb Foster and Patrick Gungba, who are out with injuries. The ACC tournament will test you if you have a shallow rotation. Okay, it's not a game every 4 days, right? This isn't the football playoffs where you get a week between this and maybe a bye if you've earned that. No, Duke started yesterday. They'll play tonight. If they win, they'll play tomorrow night. That's 3 nights, 3 games. Obviously, you earn the double bye, so it's not as bad as it could be. But Duke essentially went to a 6-man rotation yesterday with the 2 injuries.
Yeah.
Darren Harris did not play a ton. And that does add a degree of difficulty, right? It makes it so, particularly a team that has been so suffocating with their defense, you may not be able to be as, spendy with your energy, right? You can't, to use a video game term, you can't just jam the turbo constantly the whole time,
right?
Because when you need to go refill that health meter and hit the bench, there's really nobody to come in for you, especially if somebody deals with any kind of blood. Like you get cut open, you got to go get checked by the trainers, or you get 3 fouls or whatever it is. Suddenly, you're looking to the bench and it's like, nope, there ain't none of you. Like it's you. And it brings me back to, ironically, 2 years ago, not the Cooper Flag year, the year before for Duke, where for most of the postseason, Caleb Foster was hurt. And
that's right, he was.
And that took a 7-man rotation down to a 6-man rotation, and it kind of already was a 6-man rotation. Ryan Young had to start playing more minutes when Caleb Foster went out, and that's not even like a position-for-position swap. And John Shire had to do his best with a very, very shrinking rotation until eventually it caught up to them, and what was it? They lost to NC State in both tournaments.
Yeah, that's right.
So he knows the fire that he is playing with by limiting the rotation in the way that he has. Obviously, it's a little different because you're pretty confident Gungba is going to be back for the NCAA tournament, and you're hoping that Foster would be if you get to the latter stages of an NCAA tournament. But it's more than just like, oh, they don't have a traditional point guard, right? There's a lot of talk about who's going to bring the ball up, who's going to initiate the offense. I think they did a decent job with that yesterday.
Yeah.
I think more question is, are your guys going to be exhausted, right? And if somebody gets in foul trouble, if two guys get in foul trouble, are you going to have to put somebody out there who just doesn't have the experience and isn't in the rhythm that you need to be to play well enough to win an ACC tournament semifinal? It is a little bit of a different beast. And actually, we'll play some audio for you quickly here. So we noticed it when we were watching the game yesterday. Caden Boozer, who did deal with foul trouble yesterday, didn't play his best game, but also dealt with foul trouble. When he picked up his fourth, and I believe, what was it, 5-6 minutes left, something like that?
About 4.5, I want to say.
They went to huddle up as a team, and he looked towards the sideline and kind of waved off John Shire, like, no, I'm staying. And you asked Caden Boozer about that, if he was waving off Shire after the fouls, and this is what Caden Boozer had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I was just telling him to trust me, and I was going to help him win this game. But, yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to have those type of conversations moving forward a lot now. But, yeah, it was just in the moment, I just wanted to be in and help contribute to a win.
You're gonna have to trust guys.
You know what? And who had the putback to make it 80-77? Yep. Offensive rebound and a putback for a layup with about a minute to go, which ended up being the game-winning bucket. It was Caden Boozer.
You're gonna have to trust guys with a shorter roster or shorter rotation.
Yeah,
and that's trusting them maybe to play with 2 fouls in the first half, but also trusting them to get out of ruts. Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're not in a great shooting night. Yeah, I don't have anybody put in there that you can space the floor. Like, you're still gonna have to be that guy. So figure it out. It is a different situation than Duke has been in all year, because during the regular season, they largely avoided the injury bug. I guess it was just saving up for them for the postseason. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As promised, we are going to take you up till 6:30 here in the Spectrum Center. I talked about the energy rising. We are about 1 hour out from a semifinal ACC men's basketball game, and the energy is rising. Mm-hmm. It's palpable. You can cut the tension with a knife. Don't worry, no knives. But we will talk about the tournament coming up next. Stick around.
Listen for the "Did he just do that?"
Trimble draws the foul and gets the layup to go.
Listen for the "Get that out of here's."
Oh, volleyball by Brown. Wow, what a defensive play.
Oh, my goodness.
Trimble's going to have a wide open tomahawk finish.
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9 The Fan. Driven by Strategic Tax Resolution, WakeMed, Fairway Green, and Chapel Hill Family and Cosmetic Dentistry.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or price stopped. Opt out.
Hey man, how did the date go?
I had to cancel. I don't get paid until Friday.
You didn't know that you can get up to a $750 paycheck advance with the current app?
Where was that information yesterday?
Just text them. See if you qualify. $750? Boom. And right now, they're offering a $75 bonus when you set up an eligible direct deposit.
Think I should call her back?
Yeah.
Need money before payday? Current has you covered. Set up an eligible direct deposit to see if you qualify for a paycheck advance of up to $750. Hurry and receive an extra $75 sign-up bonus right now. Text BETTER to 323232. That's BETTER to 323232. BETTER to 323232.
Paycheck advance is offered by FineCo Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com/radio or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Global Golf, Carolina's home to the largest selection of pre-owned golf gear, is having a 2-day sidewalk sale this Friday and Saturday only with huge deals. Drivers starting at $50, apparel starting at $25, shoes starting at $40, and golf bags starting at $50. Only at the Global Golf Outlet Store, located on 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. Global Golf, home of the best deals in golf.
Wendy's has a new Girl Scout Thin Mints Frosty Fusion with Girl Scout Thin Mints cookie pieces, rich creamy frosty, and a mint chocolate cookie sauce. Which means Girl Scout Thin Mints and Wendy's Frosty, yeah, they're basically best friends now. It's like two delicious desserts just high-fived, snapped a few too many friendship selfies, and then rode a tandem bike down a never-ending road of mint chocolate frosty perfection. So, swing by Wendy's and try the new Thin Mints Frosty Fusion.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Let's drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Well, we built this city on college basketball.
Yeah, we built the state on college basketball.
Actually, perfect transition here. For those of you wondering, and this comes from Brian Murphy, but it's available everywhere.
Yeah.
The ACC men's basketball tournament, which is the reason we're here in Charlotte. This year, Charlotte.
Of course.
Next year, Greensboro.
Yep.
Following year, Charlotte.
Yep.
Following year, Greensboro.
Yep. The women's tournament is going to be here in Charlotte next year, by the way.
After taking a 1-year hiatus to Georgia.
Yeah.
So there's, where it should be. The ACC tournament in Carolina, North Carolina just makes sense.
Yes.
So Greensboro, Charlotte, Greensboro this year and the next 3. Speaking of the tournament, the entirety of the ACC tournament, there's time to take a little bit of a kind of a full evaluation of what we've seen thus far with 4 teams remaining, 2 semifinal games and a championship. Because you can't say all year the ACC is improved, the ACC is better. Oh, this isn't like the last 2 years. Then come to a tournament, and if it doesn't live up to it, you're not going to be able to, keep saying it essentially, right? Or you got to make some mea culpa. You got to go apologize for hyping it up all year. I think this year, this tournament has proven what we've been saying all year about the basketball. Starting with the first day, right? We weren't even here yet. We were watching back at home. There's a super competitive game between Stanford and Pitt. Yeah. There's a overtime win by Wake Forest over Virginia Tech. And for my money, they were competitively good, right? I always say, just because a game's competitive doesn't mean it's quality.
Yeah.
Right? 2 teams can play equally bad. But if you look at it, is there a difference between the teams we're watching today, right? The top 4 teams, 4 of the top 5 teams in the conference, and the teams that were ranked 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th? Yes. But if you look at the journeys, it makes sense. Something like Florida State, right? Florida State beats Cal, but it's competitive, right? Cal took them down to the wire. Florida State then goes the next game. They lose to Duke, but what'd they do? They took them down to the wire.
Yeah,
right.
Had a shot at the end.
They gave them everything they could handle, and now Duke's playing Clemson tonight, and I expect that to be another good game. That is chalk, technically, right? That is the higher seed winning each time, but the underseed was never outclassed, right? And you can find that in a bunch of ways. SMU gives Louisville all they can handle. That's an 11 seed against a 6 seed. Louisville gives Miami everything it can handle. That's a 6 seed against a 3 seed.
Yeah.
Now you have Miami going up against Virginia. Like the quality of everyone is to the quality, and everyone is obviously maybe a tad exaggerated because 3 teams aren't even here. But the gap between each team, I think, is significantly smaller than it's been the last 2 years. Just the spread isn't quite as aggressive, right? If you were to play the top seed against the 12 seed, yeah, there's probably a noticeable gap there. But that gap would have been a lot bigger in other years. And the 12 to 11 isn't that much, and the 11 to 10 isn't that much, and the 10 to 9 isn't that much. So throughout the entire week, we've had excellent games. I mean, if not every game, nearly every game has been pretty darn exciting. And if you're ever watching a bad game, it's like weather in North Carolina. If you don't like it, just wait 10 minutes, right? If you're watching a game you don't like
snow.
If you're watching a game you don't like, well, just wait till the next one starts. It's going to be a half hour after, right? Like they're cranking them out here. We're doing 4 a day. Like if you don't like the game you're watching, just wait. The next one will be good because they haven't had back-to-back not exciting games the entire week.
We were fortunate enough to be able to watch all 4 games yesterday in person, and every single one of them was just quality of play was great. A lot of them coming down to the wire the last couple minutes of the game, last possession, literally shots at the buzzer in the evening sessions. The tournament has lived up to what you want an ACC tournament to be. The fact that the ACC, the quality of basketball is much better than it has been over the last couple of years. It's shown here at the ACC tournament. Like, yeah, ACC basketball, the standard that we expect from the ACC, we are witnessing it on the court here in Charlotte.
And that is, it's great to acknowledge that. I think the next part of the conversation is the why. And Brad Brownell, Clemson's coach, after the game was asked by Brian Murphy, actually, our WRAL colleague, was asked about kind of the state of the ACC and how many teams they should get in the tournament.
Yep.
And one of the things that Brad Brownell, the coach of Clemson, referenced was like it's definitely better, right? Quality competition is better, league's deeper. And he brought up the coaches, right? He said teams are investing more, and that's necessary now, right? Administrations have to invest. He said, and you have to get the right coaches in place and give them patience. The game you're about to hear, less than an hour from now here on 99.9 The Fan, Miami and Virginia. I have here in front of me a list of first-year coaches that have the biggest difference between where Ken Pom, that's Ken Pomeroy rankings, the like total rating is supposed to encapsulate like how good a basketball team is, predictive rather than record, right? Because you don't need an equation to tell you won this many games, lost this many games. So it's by like quality of team. The number 2 and number 3 on this list, as far as teams that are significantly better than their preseason predictive numbers said they were going to be, are Virginia and Miami.
Well, there you go.
And they're playing tonight in the semifinals of the ACC tournament in less than an hour. The only team better with or the only team that has a bigger delta, a bigger gap between what Ken Pom's preseason thought they were going to be and what their postseason ranking is with a first-year coach is Stephen F. Austin. And they actually began with a prediction in the negatives, like way below there. So as far as teams that were seen as like solid programs, these 2 first-year coaches, Jay Lucas at Miami and Ryan Odom at Virginia, improved their programs the most of any first-year coaches in the country. If you do that for 3 or 4 hiring cycles, if when you have openings you bring in the right guy, and obviously already Boston College is looking for a new coach, Syracuse is looking for a new coach. If they get their versions of Jay Lucas and Ryan Odom, the ACC is going to be set up very, very well.
You look at the long-term coaches that have left.
I was just
okay.
Yep.
Okay, I was reading the same minds. So you look at Larinaga from Miami has left. Tony Bennett from Virginia has left. I'm talking left, like retired or whatever it might be. I guess Tony Bennett did leave. Anyway, but you've had Larinaga at Miami, Tony Bennett at Virginia. You've had Roy Williams at UNC. You've had Coach K at Duke. You've had Jim Boeheim. I think 4 of those coaches I just mentioned have national championships under their belt. And Larinaga's been to a couple Final Fours himself, too, at a couple of different stops. Like, that's a lot of pedigree that left your conference. And you replace it with Jay Lucas, who's a first-year head coach, Ryan Odom, who's never coached in a power conference before, John Shire never been a head coach before. Now, Autry over at Syracuse got let go earlier this week, but, that might be a different circumstance and situation there at Syracuse in terms of resources and all those kinds of things. But point is this, it's not hard. It's difficult to replace legends like that. And to see the ACC back in this standing with those legends all having left in the last few years, that's awesome for the league.
And building off of that, a Leonard Hamilton at Florida State, who
him too.
Maybe didn't have the Final Fours and national championships, just had a prolonged success at a school that cares about football way more than basketball. Luke Laux looks like a really good hire there.
I know. Leonard Hamilton had a really good team in 2020, and COVID unfortunately cut that off. That was a damn good team.
Very true. I bring all that up to say, like, if you're hoping for the golden age of the ACC, it really starts with the golden age of ACC coaches, and then everything else sprouts from there. And it appears as if the ACC is starting to get back to, all right, there's some pillar coaches that you can build around, right? Because I look at the ACC in years past, Coach K, Roy Williams, Jim Boeheim, all the names you just mentioned were the pillars, and then you'd rotate in like Jamie Dixon at Pitt and Rick Pitino at Louisville, and like these guys that would be really good coaches for lesser time, not decades, but for a while. Those are the years where the ACC was heavy hitter all the way through like a top 8 or 9, and it feels like we're on the precipice of that, and it looked like it this year, right? You can imagine Luke Laux, Jay Lucas scheming up against each other for the next 15 years. You can imagine John Shire, Ryan Odom scheming up against each other for the next 15 years. There's starting to be some of those pillars in place where the ACC can then sprout off of that. And then the players obviously do the work and have to make the shots and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
But so much of it does start with the coaches. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The energy is rising. We are getting close. One might say it's starting to feel like madness in the building. You can get in on the madness with the Fans Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge. Fill out your picks, and if you beat the odds with a perfect bracket, you score the $1 million National Grand Prize. Dominate our local leaderboard and pocket $500 for being the best in the triangle. The Fans Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge is presented by the North Carolina Courage. Take your shot. Pre-register now at 999thefan.com and be ready for those brackets. Bracket Mayhem. Gosh, I love this season. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Like I said, the energy's rising. The games on the floor should be starting in about 45 minutes. ACC semifinal men's basketball. We'll make some picks and send you out into the weekend the right way. Coming up next from here in the Spectrum Center. Don't go anywhere.
It's bracket time, baby. Get in on the madness with a Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge from 99.9 The Fan. Fill out your picks, and with a perfect bracket, you could score the $1 million National Grand Prize. That's right, $1 million. Dominate the local leaderboard and pocket $500 for being the best in the triangle. Presented by the Powerhouse Pros at North Carolina Courage. Register now at 999thefan.com and let the madness begin.
On the Wolfpack Sports Network from Learfield, this is Wolfpack Sports Today, your daily look inside NC State athletics. And now, here's Wolfpack Sports Today.
I'm Matt Chazanow. Pack falls in the ACC Tournament. Wolfpack Sports Today is next.
The top-rated public golf course in Raleigh is none other than the Lonnie Pool Golf Course at NC State. No wonder this championship course was designed by Arnold Palmer and is challenging and fun to play for all skill levels. Join a league or take lessons. Check out the latest equipment in the golf shop. You can even have your swing analyzed or get a custom club fitting from one of the nation's premier master fitters. It's all here at your #1 golf course. Learn more at LonniePoolGolfCourse.com.
NC State drops a 7-point ball game to the 2-seed Virginia, 81-74 yesterday. The Pack now looks ahead to the Sunday selection committee for the NCAA tournament brackets. Head coach Will Wade after the game.
Look, we played with better effort today, but look, you don't get any points for effort. You got to win the game. You got to play with discipline. You got to play with an edge to you every possession. You can't lose out on some loose balls. You can't, in tight possession games like this, you can't give away possessions. And we certainly did that too much. and that's what ended up costing us.
10 of 35 inside the arc. You shoot 50% from three. On Yenso with the 8 blocks, it's just hard to go inside against this team. They lead the ACC in shot blocks.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're good, they're big. I mean, we got to go get some bigs like that next year. You know, they're really, really good, and those guys affect the game at the rim and make it extremely challenging for us.
Pack shoots 50% from three, but only 10 of 35 inside the arc. They do go 21 of 24 from the free throw line. Wolfpack Sports Today continues next.
Liberty Senior Living Communities offer vibrant lifestyles in some of North Carolina's most sought-after locations. The amenities of fine resorts and the incomparable comforts of home. All Liberty Senior Living Communities are designed for active seniors and feature whole-person wellness, distinctive dining, life enrichment, and top-class amenities and services. Visit your local Liberty Senior Living Community, the Templeton of Cary or Hayes Barton Place today, and come home to the retirement you deserve. Exceptional senior living here, there, and everywhere you want to be.
It's the waiting game. Selection Sunday comes up next. Wolfpack Sports Today. This is the Wolfpack Sports Network from Learfield.
You've been listening to Wolfpack Sports Today, your daily look inside NC State athletics. Wolfpack Sports Today is a Learfield presentation of the Wolfpack Sports Network.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
With the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's bow time.
There's bow time, and then there's Bojangler time. You heard right. The Bojangler fish fillet sandwich is back for limited time at participating Bojangles. A light, flaky, perfectly seasoned fish fillet with lettuce, cheese, and tartar sauce tucked inside a bun. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
3 days grace. Alien Nation Tour. Adam Gontier returns alongside Matt Walst, live. March 17th, Lenovo Center, Raleigh. With special guests, I Prevail and The Funeral Portrait. Get tickets now at livenation.com. 3 days grace in concert. Presented by Live Nation.
Good drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. You know when Max is producing, when you hear Michael McDonald, that means our time is coming to a close. But don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. We've had a great week here in Charlotte for the ACC Men's Basketball Tournament, and the games continue. We're going to pass you off in just a few minutes to the pregame coverage for Virginia and Miami semifinal ACC Men's Basketball. The late night will be Duke and Clemson. Almost said Duke and Virginia. Duke and Clemson at about 9:30 is when you can expect that one, all right here on 99.9 The Fan. But before we pass you off, before we end our week of shows, we have to do what we always do on Fridays, and that's make some picks. So let's start making some picks. And Dennis, what are we picking?
All right, let's go to the two teams that are going to be on the court coming up right here on The Fan in just in a matter of minutes when you really think about it. Miami versus number 10 Virginia, the 3 seed in the ACC versus the 2 seed. Virginia favored by 3.5.
I think that's a good number. Virginia has been better this year. Give Miami a ton of credit, though.
They're good.
They're good, and they've gotten a lot better. I guess maybe credit to Ryan Odom and Virginia as well, because they were good from the jump. They didn't need drastic improvements, but I think Miami has made big strides this year, which is a credit to Jay Lucas and that staff. But after watching some of the shot making from Virginia yesterday, Jakari White amongst them, I'm looking at Virginia, and I think they win, and I think it's a good number. I think they win by 3 because they make free throws.
Give me Virginia to win this one by 7. because they have those 7-footers are going to be the difference on the inside. So I'll actually give the points if I'm UVA.
Reno for Miami's no slouch of a big guy either.
Oh,
he might not be as big, but he performs.
He's good. Reno is fantastic. All right, let's actually go to the game that's later on tonight. Duke, number 1 team in the country, number 1 seed in the ACC, taking on Clemson. Third game in a row for Clemson. Back-to-back games here for Duke. The Blue Devils favored by 10.5.
10.5 is a lot. 10.5 is a lot. Clemson is pretty sound. I think Duke wins.
Okay.
I picked Duke to win the ACC championship before the tournament, and I think if they were going to get caught, like the opportunity was yesterday, right? They had some adjustments to make. They didn't start off hot. They missed some shots, and Florida State almost pulled it off. But Duke escapes there, and I think they continue to win. I don't think 10.5. I think an 8-point win. No one's fouling at the end, but they hold on to win.
The over/under in that game, 138.5 is the over/under in that one. 138.5.
So we're going to 78, 70, something like that?
Yeah, something along those lines. I'm sorry, 135.5, even lower.
Looking
Take
at
away a 3-point.
Yeah, 75, 67.
All right, let's go real quick to the ice. The Carolina Hurricanes on the road at the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow. You can listen to that right here on 99.9 The Fan.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Tampa's been kind of reeling a little bit.
A little bit.
Including a loss to the Carolina Hurricanes since the Olympic break. We're kind of right out of the Olympic break. They did win against Detroit last night, but this is in Tampa, right?
It is in Tampa.
So they went away, home, back-to-back. I think the Canes win. I think it's a big game from Slavin. He was a little uncharacteristically off in their most recent contest. I think he bounces back, and we're not doing first goal scorers because the game is tomorrow, but goal scorer, I think Slavin gets his first of the year.
Okay, very nice. All right, you gave us the prediction. You say Virginia beats Miami tonight. You also said Duke beats Clemson tonight. Who wins the ACC championship tomorrow, Duke or Virginia?
For the most part, outside of Clemson beating UNC, from the quarterfinals on, including the teams that made the quarterfinals, so I guess from the second round on, it's been chalky. So I'm not going to feel bad about taking the 1 seed and the 2 seed in the semis and then taking the 1 seed in the championship. I'm going chalky McChalkerson over here. Give me Duke to win it all.
I said Duke before the tournament. I'm going to stick with it as well. Also, real quick, because we have about 40 seconds here. Who wins the tournament MVP?
Isaiah Evans.
All right.
I have him averaging a boatload of points, and that's hard to overlook. Cam Boozer is probably still the most important, but if you're putting up multiple 30 burgers, which I think he might, or multiple 25-plus burgers, I think that's going to be enough. And he's in his home city. He went North Mecklenburg High.
That's true.
He's in one of his home cities, so he'll get the hometown love. That'll go wild. Thank you to Max for keeping us up and running all week back at the studio. Thank you to Dennis for keeping us up and running out here. ACC tournament has been awesome. Thank you to the league for hosting us. And enjoy the basketball, enjoy the hockey over the weekend. We'll break it all down on Monday with brackets. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Do you have a smartphone? Of course you do. Do you have a pocket or pouch or human hand to hold your smartphone? Then you have no